What's up guys, Chaos Shinobi here. This is What If Naruto Masters Evolved Tenseigan. Summary: Naruto's heritage is revealed at birth. Experiencing an attempt on his life at an early age, Naruto awakens a legendary bloodline in dojutsu, the Genten, origin release, and the Tenseigan, a dojutsu said to rival even the mighty Rinnegan. Chapter 1, Heritage. Kaguya Otsutsuki, the mother of all chakra. The legendary rabbit goddess is a being of myth, all-powerful and ruthless. She is said to have given birth to two sons, Hagoromo and Homura, legendary beings that were the first to be born with the same powerful chakra as Kaguya herself. Homura became the ancestor of the Hyuga clan while Hagoromo sired Indra and Ashura, the progenitors of the Uchiha and Senju clans respectively. Throughout the millenniums, the clans thrived, prospered, struggled, and persevered. The mighty chakra that was introduced to the world through the rabbit goddess gave birth to many bloodlines, all of which are cherished and preserved by the shinobi. In the modern years, the shinobi villages all recognize three great dojutsu, the Byakugan, Sharingan, and Rinnegan. A fourth dojutsu, however, is said to rival the Rinnegan, the so-called mightiest of the three. It is called the Tenseigan. The descendants of Indra and Ashura prosper in the forms of the Uchiha and Senju clans while the descendants of Homura thrive in the form of the Hyuga clan. The Kaguya clan is said to hold a bloodline directly related to the rabbit goddess herself, the Dead Bone Pulse. While that may be true, another clan is said to be directly related to Kaguya herself. The clan, while lost to the ages, holds a dormant Kekkei Genkai, the most powerful in history. It is said to grant unparalleled control over elemental affinities, as well as the affinities to both halves of pure chakra themselves, yin and yang. It is known as the Genten, the origin release. The legendary dojutsu, the Tenseigan, and the legendary bloodline, Genten, are supposedly lost to history. But now, as the elemental nations are experiencing a fragile peace on the verge of collapse, the two legendary powers shall appear once more in the form of a young white-haired boy. Naruto Namikaze is a curious young boy. The son of the famed Yondaime Hokage and his wife, the Yellow Flash, Minato Namikaze, and the Red Death, Kushina Uzumaki, his heritage was announced to the village the day of their noble sacrifices to save Konoha. On the night of October 10, 8 years ago, the Kyuubi no Yoko was released and rampaged through the village. Only through the sacrifices of Minato and Kushina was the beast sealed away. The following morning, the Sun Daime Hokage was reinstated as Hokage and announced to the village of Naruto's heritage and his burden. To his surprise and joy, he was hailed as a hero by the majority of the village. Some more ignorant villagers feared and avoided him, but he was largely praised and respected for carrying a responsibility he never had a choice in. While he is known as a village hero, he is still a young child with a growing mind. At the unfathomable age of 4, his chakra was released. To Hiruzen's surprise, it was denser and greater than his own reserves. To mitigate such high chakra capacity, he was taught chakra control and mastered the exercises while learning how to read and write. He became known as a genius prodigy amongst the shinobi. The past 4 years saw him undergo light training and even elemental manipulation to strengthen himself. He was under the tutelage and guard of Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sun Daime Hokage, Tsunade Senju, the Slug Sannin and Senju Eris, and Jiraiya, the Toad Seigen Sannin. Under their watchful eyes, he quickly reached mid to high Chunin strength, learning taijutsu katas and creating his own style and learning several elemental jutsus and his father's signature Rasengan. Today, however, his curious mind led him to explore Konoha's Forest of Death. He has spent several hours venturing its terrain and, to his surprise, the wildlife hasn't targeted him. He's easily distinguished by his unique appearance. He has a bronze-tan skin complexion with strikingly white spiky hair with two bangs that frame his face. His oddest feature is his pale turquoise-green eyes that possess no irises. Suddenly, though, he detects movement. Turning, he faces a 4-man squad of unfamiliar shinobi. He confronts them. "Who are you? You aren't Konoha, so why are you here?" he demands. The 4 shinobi laugh. One of them responds, "Can't you tell by the headbands? We're Iwa." Namikaze runt, "You know the phrase 'the sins of the father are visited upon by the son'? We're here to collect your head for all the Iwanin your father killed." With that, they all charge at Naruto. Thinking quickly, Naruto dodges and retreats to the safety of the forest. Crap. They're all Jounin level, so it'd be stupid to engage them head-on. I gotta think fast and try to get to help. Rushing through the trees, Naruto avoids various weapons and jutsu the Iwanin throw at him while trying to make his way to the forest entrance. Unfortunately, he ventured extremely deep into the forest depths. Naruto does a good job avoiding the attacks until he is struck by an earth jutsu, violently crashing him into the trunk of a tree. The impact knocks him into disorientation. Shaking off the cobwebs, he sees the Iwanin closing in on him. They chuckle maliciously. He, you're a slippery little shit just like your father. But we got you now, you little bastard. The man takes out a kunai, ready to end Naruto. Inching closer, the man pounces. Die. Naruto covers up to defend himself, shutting his eyes and waiting for the man to deal the finishing blow. As he does, and to the shock of his attackers, branches from the trees form a barrier to protect Naruto. When the attack never comes, Naruto opens his eyes cautiously to see what happened. He is shocked by the sight before him. Makuten? He asks himself. He gets to his feet and takes off, the attackers shaking themselves from their stupor and focusing on him. Makuten? Shit. Get that brat, we definitely can't let him live now. The Iwa squad rush after Naruto. Shouting curses and throwing jutsu at Naruto, they continue to target Naruto while he tries to evade. Wanting to try to buy himself some time, he makes a single seal. I hope this works. Gathering chakra, he shouts, Kaden. Great fire annihilation. Naruto spews out a massive torrent of flames that engulf a great expanse of the forest before him. The Iwa squad widen their eyes and move to dodge, but unfortunately, one of them doesn't evade in time and is consumed by the flames. His comrades watch in horror as the fires burn their friend alive. His screams are haunting and agonizing. Juzan. Damn it. You're gonna pay for that, Namikaze scum. Naruto is shocked. He doesn't have a fire affinity, to his knowledge, and has only recently been learning that jutsu from Hiruzen. Not wasting an opportunity, he takes off towards the forest entrance. The remaining attackers follow soon after. The game of cat and mouse continues as Naruto narrowly dodges more attacks. The Iwanin are tiring from the constant non-stop attacking. Soon, though, Naruto makes another misstep and gets hit again. The Iwanin waste no time on villainous banter and close in upon him. Die, Namikaze. Naruto squeezes his eyes shut and holds his hands out in front of him in desperation. Leave me alone. A massive invisible force blasts outwards from Naruto. A powerful, crushing, oppressive energy completely annihilates his attackers and destroys a large portion of the forest, leaving nothing but barren ground for nearly a mile. Naruto surveys the devastation with awe. Having no idea what power he has now awakened, he heads for home to tell his family of what transpired. As Naruto exits the forest, he sees Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Hiruzen directing a search party of shinobi. They turn and see him and rush over to him. Unfortunately, Tsunade reaches him first. Naruto Namikaze. She shouts furiously. She grabs him up by his collar and brings him to meet her gaze. What the hell were you doing in the forest of death? And what caused that explosion we saw? Explain yourself. Naruto nods fervently. Over the years, Naruto learned to never enrage his surrogate mother figure. Tsunade is a loving, caring, warm woman, but she is violent and dangerous when she's angry. She is a woman he both loves and fears in spades. He recounts his encounter with the Iwa hit squad and tells them of the power he displayed in the finish. He also notes that the devastating technique that leveled that massive area in the forest didn't even leave him winded. As Tsunade checks him over for any injuries, she also notes how his reserves are both nearly full and also somehow increased. He now has more chakra than Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Hiruzen combined. His eyes also shock them as they take notice. The design is especially surprising. He now has a pupil and his eyes have taken on a deep ocean blue color with the pale green turquoise hue forming a lotus pattern surrounding the pupil with hints of white. His eyes are among the most beautiful design they've ever seen. Hiruzen speaks up. Naruto. While your eyes seem to be a dojutsu we've never seen before, what you said about the Makuten also is both great and concerning, along with your sudden affinity for fire. He pulls out a piece of chakra paper. Could you please focus your chakra into this paper? Naruto nods and takes the piece of paper. Focusing his chakra, an extraordinary reaction occurs. The paper begins to glow, gradually becoming a vibrant shine before completely shattering. The three legendary shinobi are at a loss for words. Shaking off their shock, the family of powerful nin decide to leave this matter for another time. For now, they'll keep this event a secret, for it will attract far too much unwanted attention. Naruto is safe, that's all that they are concerned with. Family above all, especially after the events Naruto has suffered through. Following the attempt on Naruto's life, the three cage-level shinobi decided to adjust Naruto's training to better learn the extent of Naruto's new abilities. The results were baffling. Naruto not only had godlike affinities for all 5 elemental releases, he also could combine them to utilize elemental bloodline limits. Wood, ice, storm, blaze, explosion, it doesn't matter. Taking great advantage of this, Jiraiya used his reformed spy network to gather scrolls for every elemental bloodline limit they could find. Since Naruto's birth, Jiraiya relocated to Konoha permanently along with Tsunade. His spy network became an organized division of Konoha's military force, now known as the Department of Intelligence and Espionage, aka DI. Using those resources, he procured several scrolls throughout the elemental nations belonging to clans with elemental bloodline limits. Naruto studied them and, with his godlike chakra control that somehow surpasses Tsunade's now, mastered the techniques within a week through the use of shadow clones. While also dabbling in his elemental affinities and chakra shaping and manipulation, he discovered that he's able to utilize the yin and yang releases. His yin release focuses on dark, destructive, and even poisonous and corrosive techniques, while his yang release grants him the ability to use creation, healing, and purifying techniques. Naruto also took the time to learn more about his new dojutsu. Sifting through the village archives, Hiruzen and Jiraiya discovered a long-forgotten piece of Hyuga clan history. The eye Naruto possesses is what is known as the Tenseigan. The powers and techniques were not listed, but at least they found out what it is. The question is, why does Naruto have it? Finding a lack of any real knowledge of his dojutsu, Naruto decided to experiment with it. Through trial and tribulation, he discovers that his eyes possess unbridled gravitational prowess, being able to unleash devastating gravitational blasts, eliminate gravity altogether, create crushing pressure, and cause gravity to collapse in on itself, resulting in black holes. Naruto even uses it to fly, able to reach ultrasonic speeds. With chakra reserves that rival Baiju's, Naruto finds that he has virtually no limit to his dojutsu usage. Being a dojutsu that is affiliated or related with the Byakugan, Naruto finds that the Tenseigan possesses the abilities of the Byakugan without its limitations. It had the full 360-degree vision without the blind spot and can cover a much larger range, and it allows Naruto to see the chakra and chakra network of others. Of course, it is an activated ability, but it doesn't exaggerate the veins of the eyes like the Byakugan's activation. In every sense of the word, the Tenseigan is the Byakugan evolved to the highest degree. While Naruto's chakra-based techniques are unparalleled and his dojutsu defies reason, he still needs to train his body. He is still only 8 years old. Jiraiya also is now taking the time to train Naruto in Fuin Jutsu, allowing him to study his parents' notes while guiding him himself. Through the use of shadow clones, Naruto devised several resistance seals and gravity seals to train his physical strength and speed. Jiraiya also offers Naruto to sign the Toad contract, but Naruto refuses, citing that toads are just not for me. Tsunade makes a point to regularly check on Naruto's medical condition. Since settling into Konoha permanently, she has taken over Konoha's medical program. While also directing the hospital with her assistant, Shizune's help, she founded a division of shinobi training specializing in Ryojutsu. Academy students are chosen based on their chakra control to undergo training in Ryojutsu, and teams are all assigned one member who specializes as a combat medic. In doing so, Konoha has become, not only the strongest hidden village, but also boasts the highest mission success rate and lowest casualty count in the elemental nations. Tsunade's tests on Naruto's DNA show that both his dojutsu and elemental abilities are each a bloodline limit. Wondering what bloodline Naruto possesses, Hiruzen and Jiraiya rummage through the village archives in an effort to find out. Their findings are vague at best. The only semblance of knowledge that they find is that Naruto's bloodline dates back to the birth of the shinobi arts, predating even the Sage of Six Paths himself. The only viable discovery is that it may be called Genten, or Origin Release. The trio of sensei and students continue to look into Naruto's abilities and the origins behind them. Naruto, of course, would like to know this well, but would much rather focus on his shinobi career first. When offered to simply take a Jounin exam, Naruto flat out refused. He demands to go through the motions as a normal shinobi and refuses to let anyone say he was simply handed everything because of who his parents are. 4 months later, since demanding he attend the academy like a normal child, Naruto prepares to make his academy debut. He wakes up early, goes through his morning training, heads to the dining area where his big sister, Shizune, is preparing a delicious meal, enjoys breakfast with his family, and heads off to the academy. Naruto's bloodline became public knowledge in Konoha by chance. Well, honestly, gravitational blasts kind of make a lot of noise, and since Naruto was training it and didn't want the citizens to think it was an invasion, Hiruzen explained it to everyone. No sense in being subtle. Naruto simply manipulates the gravity around him and flies to the academy. Below him, the citizens smile and wave at the Child of Heroes, as he is called. Young children point and look on in amazement, civilians happily greet and smile at Naruto, and Naruto enjoys the view of a bright, clear, Konoha morning. Arriving at the academy, Naruto greets the secretary, who returns the gesture with a bright smile and directs him to his class. Upon arriving, he sees that the other clan heirs are already waiting. Naruto learned of them through political lessons and social gatherings, and is already acquainted and friendly with them. The Nara clan heir, Shikamaru, is a rather lazy and indifferent character. As with most Naras, they possess genius levels of intellect, on par with Naruto's own, yet very low motivation and are generally lazy. The Jounin commander and strategist of the Sandaime, Shikaku Nara, is a prime example of such. The Akamiki clan heir, Choji, is best friends with Shikamaru and is always nearby him. He's sitting right next to him, of course. The Akamiki clan are a clan of frontline fighters with large builds that specialize as a form of ninjutsu that expands their bodies. However, in order to use such a jutsu, clan members must eat constantly, leading to the common belief that all Akamiki are simply fat. Be warned though, calling an Akamiki fat sends them into a rage and their strength makes them formidable in such cases. The Yamanaka heiress, Ino, is also found nearby, occupying a seat behind them. The Yamanaka clan are a clan of mindwalkers that specialize in interrogation and support. Ino's father, Inoiki, was a member of the legendary Ino Shikacho team that is famed for its unbeatable teamwork. Ino herself is quite outgoing, always being the center of attention and lighting up a room wherever she goes. Naruto is close friends with the trio. The Hyuga heiress, Hinata, is another close friend of his. Possessing an advanced form of her clan's dojutsu, Naruto spent time with the Hyuga clan to learn more about how to use his Tenseigan. While reluctant at first, the Hyugas eventually conceded and agreed to train Naruto in how their Byakugan works. While there, he became acquainted with the young Hyuga heiress and became friends with her. At first she had confidence issues and they were only compounded after the night of her attempted kidnapping. Flashback. Naruto had been training with Hisashi Hyuga, the branch head, and was finishing up with him. Suddenly, Naruto senses an unfamiliar chakra signature. Activating his Tenseigan's advanced vision, he sees a person retreating from the compound with Hinata in a rucksack. Acting quickly, he tells Hisashi, "Shit. Someone just kidnapped Hinata. I'm going after them." Before Hisashi could respond, Naruto takes off in flight at blinding speeds. Before the kidnapper could get too far, Naruto makes a single hand seal. Suddenly, the ground erupts with tree branches and immobilizes the man. Naruto quickly takes the rucksack and frees Hinata, who clutches tightly to his shirt. Naruto tightens his embrace on Hinata protectively. "Damn it! You're the Namikaze brat. Release me or I'll kill you," he demands. Naruto smirks. "If I could bind you without even trying, why would I release you?" His expression turns serious. "Why did you kidnap the Hyuga heiress?" His tone is as cold as his Hyoton. The Kumo nin just laughs. "Why? Don't be naive, why do you think? So that she can breed more Hyugas for Kumo. You get it? She's a damn baby factory for the Byakugan." The man's words sicken Naruto. He readies himself to simply kill the man. "Naruto!" A voice calls out to him and he sees that it's his Gigi. Hisashi and Hiruzen arrive to see that Naruto saved Hinata. Eternally grateful for saving his daughter from a horrible fate, Hisashi asks Naruto to take Naruto back to the Hyuga compound. Once Naruto leaves, Hiruzen has to physically stop Hisashi from killing the Kumo ambassador. Hiruzen sends the Kumo ambassador off to Ibiki and Anko for interrogation. Anko is the apprentice of Ibiki and is learning how to effectively, albeit sadistically, extract information from prisoners. They would discover that the warmongering Sandaime Reikage ordered him to act as an ambassador for a peace treaty in order to infiltrate Konoha and kidnap the Hyuga heiress to create a branch of Byakugan users for Kumo. The findings enraged Hiruzen, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and the Hyuga clan. The Reikage's response was to vehemently deny the allegations of the captured Kumo Jounin. Deciding to act rationally but adamant to get a point across, Hiruzen simply stated that he wishes to cease peace talks and that if Kumo acts against Konoha again, he will level their village. While the Reikage took offense at such a blatant threat, he knew that he was at a disadvantage since Konoha had 3 cage-level shinobi, not to mention the strength of the village's bloodlines. Naruto had been forced to face the harsh reality that the hidden villages suffer from a strand of greed that will force them to treat humans as objects. He realized that Kumo didn't see Hinata as a person but as a means, a valuable resource that could be stolen and used. It would be only one of many times that Naruto would have to face the darker side of the shinobi world. Hinata developed an even worse complex after that night. She became a fearful, stuttering mess. Her training had severely suffered, her Juken had warped, and her fear of people only worsened. It took Naruto a long time to finally break her out of her slump and make her become a serious kunoichi. The two developed a bond with one another that would last a lifetime after this night. Flashback end. Naruto grimaces at the memory of that night. Still, the bond he and Hinata share was forged that night, and while it wasn't pleasant, he is happy for her now. He smiles at her and she returns the smile and waves at him. Behind Hinata sits the Inuzuka clan heir, Kiba. The Inuzuka are a clan known for their advanced senses, ninkin usage, feral dispositions, and fierce pack-like loyalty. Kiba is a brash, loud-mouthed boy with an alpha male complex. His crush on Hinata is well known, but Hinata only sees Kiba as a friend. Kiba also has a one-sided, self-imposed rivalry with Naruto. Naruto's strength is well known throughout Konoha to the point where even Kiba's own mother respects him. This doesn't grate well with Kiba because he sees it as his own mother basically submitting herself to an outsider male. Naruto is indifferent to the situation, and that makes it worse to Kiba. Kiba takes it as he isn't even worth Naruto's time. Male pride is a bitch. A strange one to Naruto is the boy called Sai. He puzzles Naruto because the boy simply appeared out of nowhere. None of his friends knew him, his family isn't familiar with him, and the boy has less personality than a husk of corn, and he is about as much emotion as brick mortar. Seriously. Naruto can't pick up a single drop of emotion from him. Not to mention that the boy wears a perpetual fake smile that makes Naruto wonder how he would look with a slit throat. Naruto wanted to avoid Sai as much as possible. Something just seems off about him. The Aburame clan heir, Shino, is another flat one. The only difference is that it's a clan trait and Naruto actually likes Shino. The two are actually quite good friends. His family specializes in using insects known as kikaiku to drain the chakra out of their opponents, as well as their ability in communicating with insects for infiltration and information gathering. The Aburames play a large part in the Dai. Despite their cold personalities, the Aburame clan are also extremely intelligent and logical, rivaling the Nara clan. Shino is also an extremely intelligent boy for his age. While he possesses a demeanor that makes him hard to approach, he and Naruto developed a friendship nevertheless. The same can't be said for the civilian girl, Sakura Haruno. Despite not having a real reason, the pink-haired girl developed an obsession over the Uchiha clan heir, Sasuke. While not as talented as his twin sister, Satsuki, or his older brother and clan's lair, Itachi Uchiha, Sakura developed a brutal fangirl complex over him. The Uchiha could never do wrong. Naruto pities the girl due to her obvious dieting, lack of training, and pitiful chakra reserves. He wishes that she would get her act together and take shinobi life seriously, or simply drop out of the program altogether. Sasuke Uchiha and Satsuki Uchiha are twins and the clan heirs of the Uchiha clan. Years ago, their clan was massacred by one of their own, the prodigy known as Itachi Uchiha, leaving only his mother, Mikado Uchiha, and his twin siblings alive. They are famed for their unparalleled fire affinity and their legendary and feared dojutsu, the Sharingan. To Sasuke's ire, his younger twin sister has already awakened the Sharingan at the age of 8 and it is matured to 2 tomos in each eye. Sasuke has yet to awaken the Sharingan and even demanded his own mother and sister to help him awaken it. The two refused, with Satsuki kicking his ass for being so rude to them. Yet people call him the genius. Regardless, their personalities are vastly different. Satsuki takes more after her mother, where she is both kind and fiercely loyal to those she cares about, while Sasuke takes after his father and is short-tempered, power-hungry, and extremely envious of those who possess more power than himself. Naruto is close to Satsuki and her mother but tends to avoid Sasuke, who has no qualms doing the same. That is, unless Sasuke is demanding for Naruto to give him his power, and claiming that a loser like him doesn't deserve power. Whatever, the two can't stand each other. Naruto then turns his attention to the lone redhead of the class. Her name is Tuya, no last name, no family, an orphan that was found in a ransacked village in the Land of Fire. She was brought to Konoha by a random team. Naruto's interactions with the fiery redhead were colorful to say the least. Naruto admired her fierce personality, and while she doesn't say it, Tuya has taken a liking to Naruto. The girl has a very foul mouth and she isn't afraid to argue and curse at either of the Sannin in the village and even the Hokage. Naruto smiles and takes a seat next to the girl known throughout Konoha as the Raging Fireball. He smirks at her and she does the same out the corner of her eye. "Yo, shithead." She greets. His smirk widens. "Hey, Tuya." Girl has a mouth on her. And she's only 8 years old. The two carry on casual banter while occasionally exchanging insults and swears. "Honestly," she says, "I can't understand why you don't just skip this whole academy bullshit, shithead. You could easily beat Jounins, I've seen you. Or are you just here to fuck around for 6 years?" Naruto chuckles as he notices Satsuki sit down with them. "Hey, you two," she says. Tuya grunts. "What do you want, Pink Eye?" Satsuki's eyebrow twitches. She hates that nickname. Naruto smiles at the two. "Hey Satsuki-chan. Sasuke still being a bastard? Satsuki scoffs and nods. Yeah, she begins. He's still cold and distant, caring only about himself and avenging the Uchiha. He's most likely written me and Mom off since we don't care for vengeance. We both know it'll only lead to more pointless bloodshed. Naruto nods. Tuya scoffs, though. Wow. Pink Eye actually has a brain in that big-ass head. Who knew? Satsuki is tempted to put Tuya under a heinous genjutsu but remembers that Tuya specializes in genjutsu. She's actually more talented in that regard than Satsuki at the moment. The three carry on their conversation until their sensei, Iruka Umino, enters the room. He gets the class to stop talking using a strange jutsu that makes his head big and his voice louder. Iruka explains the importance of the academy classes and a bunch of other meaningless stuff. He then announces that they'll be conducting a thorough examination of each student's strength and weaknesses. He then leads them all to the academy training grounds. Okay class, he begins. First, we'll take the taijutsu examination to establish rankings in the class. The matches were relatively lackluster. Especially Sakura's. She was paired against Ino, who trained extensively in her family's taijutsu. Sakura simply charged at Ino with a punch, which was deflected, and she countered with a pretty vicious uppercut. The match between Tuya and Satsuki was very interesting though. Since the two had a rivalry outside of the academy, the two refused to lose to the other. At the start of the match, Tuya was expected to rush in and engage Satsuki head up. Tuya knew better than that though. Satsuki's taijutsu style revolved around counters. Knowing that, Tuya wanted Satsuki to attack first. After a long minute of stalling, Satsuki eventually did charge in first. The match consisted of Satsuki countering Tuya evading the counters and throwing in her own attacks. It was a dangerous stance that impressed the Chunin instructors as well as several bystanders and onlookers. Neither could land a definitive blow on the other and they both garnered top spot for the kunoichi. The rest of the matches were still pretty underwhelming. Time came for Naruto to face his opponent, and to his simultaneous pleasure and displeasure, it was Sasuke. Naruto walks to the ring with an air of indifference. Sasuke smirks. Ready to lose, loser? He asks smugly. Naruto simply sighs. What's wrong, loser? Accepting the fact that you're gonna lose? Naruto hears several shrieks but also detects some hostility directed towards the melee Uchiha. Satsuki is even angry at her brother. The match begins and Sasuke charges in with a punch that could have been thrown underwater. Naruto ducks and slides into Sasuke's defense and delivers a quick palm thrust that launches Sasuke out of the ring and counting as Naruto's victory. Sasuke gets up angrily but goes to sit back by himself and brood. The taijutsu exam ended with Naruto as the top rank and sharing that spot with Tuya and Satsuki for the kunoichi. With that exam complete, Iruka moves on to the Shuriken Jutsu exam. Each student performed well, although Shikamaru only got a 4/10 because it was too troublesome. This exam was Satsuki victory over Tuya, Satsuki's 9/10 beating Tuya's 7/10. Sasuke averaged an 8/10 between kunai and shuriken. At Naruto's turn he simply gathers 10 shuriken and 10 kunai, and throws them all at once. He shocks the entire class, averaging a 9/10 and tying Satsuki for top spot. Moving on to the ninjutsu exam, the goal was to perform Hange, Kawarimi, and Bunshin. If a student couldn't perform those three basic jutsu, you couldn't join the academy. Afterwards, you must perform 2 jutsu of your choice. Each student passed. The more notable examinees gained extra points for higher-ranked jutsu. Tuya performed the Academy 3 and for her personal jutsu, she performed a Doden and a Katen jutsu. Satsuki performed the Academy 3 and performed a Katen and Raiten jutsu. Hinata performed the Academy 3 and performed a few Uten and Suten. Sasuke did the Academy 3 and did 2 Katen. And Naruto. Academy 3 with no seals, a Hyoton that created a sculpture of a unicorn, and a Makuten to summon a massive titan that smashed the unicorn with a giant fist. Naruto easily passed the ninjutsu portion in the top spot. The results named Naruto as the top student with Tuya and Satsuki tied for second. Naruto smiled as they all filed into the academy. He knew things were gonna get interesting. After leaving the academy, Naruto invites Satsuki and Tuya to join him in celebrating a good first day. They accept, of course, and Naruto takes them to his favorite spot, the White Dove. The three share stories, dreams, goals, and after eating a great meal, they leave the restaurant and Naruto decides to walk the two ladies to their homes. As the trio walk through the metropolitan area of Konoha, Naruto picks up 3 chakra signatures that bring on a sore memory of his. Being that the Uchiha district is closest, they head there first. Since the district is virtually vacant, the group seizes the chance to act. The presences make themselves known. Intercepting the group of friends, Naruto grimaces as he recognizes the headbands. Iwa? He growls out. Satsuki and Tuya tense at the situation before them. Not wanting them to get caught up in the inevitable battle, Naruto attempts to bargain with them. Wait. He grabs the attention of the Iwanin. I'm your target, right? Let's take this nearby to avoid drawing too much attention to this. The three Iwa down and look at each other. The leader then turns to Naruto. Not a chance. They then leap into battle. Shit. Satsuki, Tuya, get out of here. This is my fight. The two girls fear for their friend but do as he says, heading to the Uchiha main house to alert Mikado. The two other Iwanin try to go after them. Naruto sees this and, dodging an attack from the leader, moves to stop them. No you don't. He holds up a hand seal. Doton. Iron barricade. A massive wall of iron taller than most of the surrounding buildings bursts forth from the ground and cuts off the Iwa pursuers. This surprises the Iwanin that someone from Konoha has such a high affinity for Earth. They didn't receive any reports on that. Seeing that he caught them off guard, Naruto forms a Rasengan and shoves it into the chest of one of his attackers, the chakra orb drilling straight through his chest cavity and out through his back. The sudden death of his comrade catches the other Jounin by surprise. His eyes widen as his friend was killed by an 8-year-old boy. Naruto forms another hand seal, taking advantage of his enemy's stupor. Yoton. Lava orbs. Naruto gathers chakra into his chest and spits out an orb of molten lava at his attacker. He gets a direct hit and the man screams as he is melted by the jutsu. Seeing his two comrades die, the leader springs forward to kill the boy. Die, Namikaze. Wielding a kunai, he closes in too fast for Naruto to dodge. Moving as he can, Naruto tries to redirect or block the stab. The man drives the kunai into Naruto's gut, not deep enough to get a fatal wound but Naruto bleeds profusely. Naruto's grip on the man's wrist tightens. He looks into the eyes of his attacker. The man snarls. You'll die for what your father did to Iwa. Naruto smirks. You first. Hyoton. Arctic curse. Suddenly, the man feels his arm violently freeze. Looking down, he watches as his body slowly freezes from the inside out. He then looks at Naruto, the fear evident in his eyes. Naruto simply maintains his smirk. A cruel jutsu, wouldn't you agree? A slow, agonizing death. You brought it on yourself since you came into close contact with me. Now you'll experience the pain of being frozen inside out. The man's legs then freeze first. The creeping death jutsu slowly works its way to the man's vital organs. He screams out in agony as the cold grip of inevitable death begins to claim him. Gyaya. Scream all you want. You brought this on yourself, Iwa trash. First you target me but now you attempted to bring my friends into this. His eyes grow dangerously cold and he leaves the man with one final message before his curse finishes its work. I'll kill every one of you. I'll show Iwa what happens when you fuck with a namikaze. Resilient to the end, the Iwanin draws his last breath, shouting, this isn't over namikaze. You may kill me today but Iwa will have its revenge. Iwa will kill you, namikaze scum. Winter's breath slowly clamps onto the man's heart, lungs, and his brain. Naruto steps back away from the man as he appraises his handiwork. He stares into the man's eyes as they are claimed by the jutsu. His face frozen in a perpetual scream, his eyes widened in agony. The Arctic curse slowly claims his pupils, expanding outward until both eyes are encased in the icy blue frost. An eerie steam rolls off the frozen Iwa Jounin. The man is no more as the curse finally ends his suffering. Tsunade, Hiruzen, and Mikado finally arrive, along with Satsuki and Tuya. Tsunade rushes to Naruto and immediately checks him over, having noticed the blood on his abdomen. The wound already healed. Hiruzen then asks Naruto about what happened. Naruto explains in full detail. Hiruzen shakes his head and explains to Jiraiya once he arrives. This is bad, sensei. Iwa and Kumo are getting too bold. Was it a mistake to reveal his heritage like that? Hiruzen shakes his head. No. I don't regret it and I believe I made the right decision. He is seen as a hero in the village. The people love him, he has a family, and even though there are these attempts on his life, he's still happy. Just look at him. Jiraiya sees what Hiruzen means. Satsuki, Tuya, Mikado, and Tsunade are busy fussing over Naruto, scolding him about how dangerous it is to fight alone like he did. Tuya and Satsuki are fussing over being sent away when they could have fought beside him while Mikado and Tsunade are scolding him like overprotective mothers. Hiruzen and Jiraiya smile and they notice how, even though Naruto is slightly annoyed at the antics of the girls, there is a fond smile on his face and warmth in his eyes. Yeah. Jiraiya says. I guess you're right, sensei. Hiruzen nods. Jiraiya turns and looks at the last Iwa Jounin Naruto killed. Still, he eliminated a 3-man squad of Iwa Jounin who managed to get into Konoha undetected. He turns to Hiruzen. An 8-year-old shouldn't be this strong, sensei. And he's smart too. Hiruzen nods. I know, Jiraiya. He's as strong as a cage with his jutsu and dojutsu alone. His physical strength is still that of a child, but still. Jiraiya nods in agreement. He didn't use his dojutsu either, out of concern for his surroundings. Jiraiya says, after cleaning up and repairing what little damages were done in the fight, the group head home, Satsuki and Tuya demanding to spend the night with Naruto out of concern for him, much to delight of Jiraiya. This resulted in Jiraiya being launched across Konoha, courtesy of Tsunade, as a reminder that the three are still 8-year-old kids. Chapter 2, Jinan Exams. 6 years later. Thanks for the breakfast, Tsunade-kaken. It was delicious. I'm heading out now. Naruto runs up to Tsunade as she's cleaning up the dishes and kisses her on the cheek. Leaving the compound, he flies off towards the academy, excited for the Jinan exams. Previously, students graduated the Shinobi Academy at age 12 unless they were advanced, but with Hiruzen's reforms implemented, the tests were more rigorous and frequent, the curriculum more practical, and the lessons more realistic and unforgiving, having students experience first kills in gruesome fashion. To ready students for real-world action, Hiruzen added a blooding exams. The academy gathers bloodthirsty bandits and death row convicts to have the students execute them. To add to the real-life simulation aspect, the students were not given weapons to carry out the act. They had to choose the method of execution themselves. The targets would be released in a confined forested area with the words, "This is your chance. Outrun or kill these students and freedom is yours." After 5 minutes, the students will then be tasked with hunting down and killing a target in an allotted time frame, bringing back their head and incinerating the body. This would be completed a total of 3 times throughout the course of the academy. It is a gritty, cruel, and inhumane practice, but a necessary one to produce the finest shinobi for the village. Another reform to the shinobi selection program is the method of graduation. Instead of a few small exams that are basically the same as the ones taken year-round, it was changed to become a small-scale Chunin exams, effectively called the Jinan exams. The first is a written exam broken down into history, strategy, physics and anatomy, and basic math, reading, and writing. The second exam is to test agility, reaction speed, and shuriken jutsu. Students are tasked to run a course under the allotted time, testing the speed, comprehension, and aiming skill of the students. The third exam is a display of singles combat. Students pick a number at the beginning to see who is facing off against one another in a tournament-based exam. Victors of the first round are paired up against one another, and those who lost are paired up against one another to try to get the most accurate results possible. The one who wins the entire exam is given the title of champion of the stage. The Jinan with the highest overall grade out of all 3 exams is given the title of Rookie of the Year. Naruto is, of course, confident in his abilities to win the title. He smiles happily as he makes his way to the academy, waving at those who greet him as he flies above the rooftops of Konoha. The academy is ruthless nowadays, and many of the civilians who aren't cut out for the shinobi life quit. Especially when it came to the killing. D ranks are also given to academy students as a way to make money and act as a requirement to pass each year. Students must complete 25 D rank missions each semester to pass. Add that along with written exams, practical exams, blooding exams, and the lessons themselves, and the pressure comes into perspective. By graduation, modern-day Jinan are more than a match for the Chunin of old. And this is a time of peace? Arriving at the academy, Naruto makes his way to the classroom. He takes his normal seat between Tuya and Satsuki. Over the years, they each have changed. Tuya is now one of the most beautiful kunoichi in the entire village. Couple that with her deadly skills in kenjutsu, and people call her the second coming of the Red Death. She still goes by her moniker of the Raging Fireball though. Standing at 5 feet 2 inches, Tuya sports a curvy athletic build with a sizable bust and derriere. She wears a form-fitting long-sleeve red shirt and black tights, the Academy issue vest, and she keeps her sword strapped to her back. Her long red hair became more vibrant and hangs below her back, which she keeps in a ponytail. She also has a rhombus in her forehead, a symbol of her apprenticeship to Tsunade due to her precise chakra control. She had also been undergoing lessons from the village's genjutsu mistress, Kurenai Yuhi, alongside the Kurama clan heiress, Yakumo. Satsuki, on the other hand, hasn't fallen behind Tuya in neither beauty nor skill. A fellow kenjutsu specialist, she poured much effort in developing her ninjutsu, taijutsu, and strategic skills. She stands at a healthy 5 feet 4 inches, curvy where it counts with similar dimensions to Tuya, and sporting a similar fashion. She wears a form-fitting black long-sleeve shirt, black tights, and an academy vest. Like Tuya, her pouches are secured to her legs as well, and they both wear black shinobi sandals. Her black hair hangs at a similar length to Tuya's and she also keeps it in a ponytail. The difference is that, where Tuya has bangs that cover her right eye, Satsuki sports two bangs that frame her face. Satsuki's skill with her Sharingan has grown under the tutelage of her mother as well as Kakashi Hatake. She has mastered her fire element to an alarming degree as well as her lightning element. Kakashi even taught her his signature Chidori and Reikiri, which, to his dismay, she improved to the point where the chirping noise was eliminated and she could control it without the tunnel-sighted charge. The effectiveness of the academy overhaul was alarming. Hiruzen even began to receive reports of students being able to challenge some of the village's jounin in combat. This basically proved his point, however, stating that he knew that if the students were nurtured to grow at an early age, they could flourish greater than the old generation that preceded them. The rigorous academy curriculum filtered out the students with weak constitutions. Sakura Haruno had been the first of many to be removed from the academy for not meeting their standards. Many more would follow from their year, leaving a class that started off with 34 students in their starting year to only 12 in their graduating year. Those 12 being Naruto Namikaze, Tuya, Satsuki Uchiha, Sasuke Uchiha, Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamiki, Ino Yamanaka, Kiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame, Sai, and Yakumo Kurama. Yakumo joined at the start of their second year but quickly proved her mettle. Befriending Naruto, she explained that when she was younger she had a weak body but with help from Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Kurenai, she was healed and strong enough to enter the academy. Naruto had grown a lot over the past 6 years as well. He's much more muscular, taller, and his hair had grown longer. He stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall and sports a swimmer's build, lithe but strong with no excess fat or muscle. His hair is now shoulder length but spiky with 2 bangs framing his face. The gorgeous white sheen of his hair has grown brighter and he is considered one of the most desirable shinobi in the village. Given the strength of his arsenal, over the years Naruto mainly focused on developing his Fuinjutsu. He became a seal master last year, surpassing even Jiraiya in the field thanks in no small part to his parentage. As far as his other skills, Naruto had no real need to focus on elemental mastery and only invested in developing his yin and yang control. His true focus was on his dojutsu. He is capable of now controlling gravity in multiple areas instead of only focusing on one area or having to use shadow clones. He also trained the finer control of his Tenseigan so that he won't have to worry about destroying parts of the village when using it. When approached with the possibility of training in Kenjutsu, he declined since he didn't really need a weapon with his cage-level power as it is. He specializes in heavy assault and ninjutsu, a mid to long-range specialist if you would. He can create powerful genjutsu on par with an Uchiha due to his chakra control and because of said chakra control and Baiju level reserves, his surrogate mother's super strength technique is mastered to an even more terrifying degree. Just as this generation's Shin'an surpassed the classes of old, Naruto surpasses his so-called peers by tenfold. As Naruto ponders his thoughts, Iruka walks in and the class grows so quiet, you could hear an ant fart. Iruka smirks. His lessons and disciplinary liberties had been engraved on his students greatly. Clearing his throat, he addresses the graduating class. "Alright class, let's get started." He creates a shadow clone to assist in distributing tests. The class takes note of the Anbu stationed in the back. Taking his seat at the head of the class, Iruka takes out the timer and starts it. Begin. After they finish the grueling 3-hour exam, several of the graduating students are drained. Kiba and Choji in particular are the most exhausted since they aren't ranked in the upper echelon in terms of academic performance. Sasuke also displays noticeable frustration. Compared to Kiba and Choji, Sasuke has a better comprehension of the academic courses but Ino, Yakumo, Sai, and especially Satsuki, Shino, Shikamaru, and Naruto all far outclass him in intellect. Iruka gives the class a 30-minute recess to eat, rest, or relax. Afterwards, he leads them out of the building and towards exam site 8. He then explains to them what the exam will be. "Okay class," he begins, getting their attention. "Welcome to the second exam. You will have 2 hours to navigate the terrain, complete the objectives, and make it to the outpost in the middle of the exam site to conclude the test. Any questions so far?" None of the students speak up. Good. Instructors will be using shadow clones to act as targets. Your first objective inside the forest will be to dispel 10 targets using 5 shuriken and 5 kunai. Your second objective will be to locate one of the totems hidden within the forest and bring it to the outpost. Am I clear? The examinees all nod in affirmation. Good. Begin. The 12 examinees all take off at impressive speeds. As they enter the forest, they see the instructor's clones leaping through the trees, keeping close eyes on the students. The students launch their weapons at the clones, many of them dispelling. The students then take off in different directions, tracking the subtle clues the instructors left behind. Disturbed shrubbery, slight impressions in the forest floor, chipped bark, etc. Naruto is the first to find a totem. He finishes up the required target amounts and heads to the outpost. He finishes in a record time of 28 minutes and 32 seconds. Tuya finishes second after a total time of 58 minutes and 24 seconds, followed by Satsuki at 1 hour 3 minutes and 44 seconds. The other students start filing in afterwards. Satsuki, noticing her brother not showing up, can't help but worry. Tuya notices something is bothering Satsuki. "What's got your bra in a bunch, pink eye?" Satsuki, accustomed to Tuya's crass language, responds, "Sasuke hasn't finished yet. This test should be easy for him." Naruto comes over, listening in on the conversation, and speaks up. "You know he doesn't have the advantages we have, Suki-chan. I have my Tenseigan, Taiyu-chan is a sensor and she can sense the slight chakra signature that the totems emit, and you have your Sharingan plus you're a natural sensor like Miko Bakken. Sasuke doesn't have that." Satsuki nods her head, knowing the truth behind Naruto's words. While both Tuya and Naruto could care less if Sasuke passes, concern weighs heavily on the younger Uchiha to win. Meanwhile in the forest depths, Sasuke searches desperately for a chakra totem. Having completed eliminating all 10 required targets, he is having a difficult time finding a totem. Damn it! He curses to himself. If only I had my Sharingan, I could pass this exam without a problem. Kiba Inuzuka had already found a totem and finished his required targets. As he was heading to the exam outpost, he spots a desperate-looking Sasuke. Deciding to mess with him, he heads over to him. Landing near him, he teases, "What's wrong, Uchiha? Can't find a totem, huh?" Sasuke looks towards the Inuzuka with a scowl. "Shut it, mutt. If I had my Sharingan, this pathetic test wouldn't even faze me." Kiba snickers at Sasuke. "Oh yeah, keyword as if, Uchiha. Too bad for you, huh? Guess you gotta try again next year." Sasuke growls at the Inuzuka heir. The truth is he's afraid that the boy is right. Satsuki has always been better than Sasuke at advancing. She was so alike with Itachi in that regard. Since they were young, Sasuke had to scratch, claw, and climb desperately for his strength. Yet, everything came so naturally to Satsuki. This exam is no different. Kiba's words struck a chord with Sasuke like never before. Sasuke snaps and launches at Kiba, delivering a punch to his face. Kiba looks at him, more shocked than hurt. "What the fuck is your deal, Uchiha?" he shouts. Sasuke snarls. "You running your filthy mouth, dog lover. Don't you think I can see how much I'm struggling with this fucking exam? I don't need you here antagonizing me. Leave me alone." Sasuke finishes shouting and turns around, heading off to try to find some way to track down a totem that hasn't been taken yet. Kiba on the other hand is stunned by Sasuke's outburst. He hadn't expected to get under his skin the way he did. Thinking about it, he realizes the position Sasuke is in. He learned about his older brother, Itachi, and that he was considered a prodigy before going rogue, comparable to Madara Uchiha even. Sasuke's sister is also being recognized as a genius, woefully outshining Sasuke at every turn. It was evident to everyone that Satsuki is the true genius between the two. It suddenly struck Kiba. He's a runt, just like me and Akamaru. Kiba, being the youngest in the clan, always was picked on, sometimes even bullied. When he told his mother about it, she laughed it off and said a little push is good for him to build character. It went on for years, making him train twice as hard to be able to fight back against his bullies. He finally was able to, and his mother congratulated and told him she was proud, but it always bothered him that she and his sister always left him to fend for himself. And when Kiba first got Akamaru, he was the smallest in the litter. Akamaru was always last to feed, furthest to sleep away from his mother, and suffered the most nips from his siblings. He was smaller and weaker than them. Kiba and Akamaru built a bond based on striving to win against the odds. And here Sasuke was doing the same. Gritting his teeth, Kiba shoots to his feet. "Oi, Uchiha." Sasuke turns back with a scowl. "What, mutt boy?" he spits out. Kiba takes his totem and looks at it in his hand. Then he tosses it to Sasuke. Sasuke looks at it questioningly. "What the hell is this for?" Kiba turns his head away from Sasuke in embarrassment. "You need it more than I do, Uchiha. Now go get to that outpost and pass already." Sasuke growls and squeezes the totem until his knuckles turn white. "Is that what this is? Pity? I don't need your fucking pity, dog boy. Don't ever pity me in your life," he screams. Kiba growls back. "It's not pity, Uchiha. Don't be so damn daft," he shouts back. Sasuke doesn't buy it. "It's not pity, Huh? Then why are you just giving me this damned thing? Kiba scoffs and turns away. He gathers his thoughts and lets out a sigh. Because I know what it's like to work twice as hard as everyone else when nobody wants to help you. Sasuke's eyes widen. I know how everyone compares you to the rest of your family, Uchiha. And I know you work harder than her. I don't pity you at all. But I just understand what you're going through. Kiba walks off, leaving a gobsmacked Sasuke to think about his words. After a moment, Sasuke scoffs. Who is he to claim how he knows what I feel? He turns to head towards the exam outpost. In that direction? Shit, where the hell am I? Kiba heads to where he smells the residual scent of the proctors. He was able to find the first totem by this method, as he assumes the totems were placed only a few hours prior to the exam. He finds one hidden and turns to head towards the outpost. Only to find the lost Uchiha again. Kiba blinks. What now, Uchiha? Sasuke doesn't look him in the eye. Blushing, he says, and even with Kiba's sensitive hearing, he couldn't make out Sasuke's words. I'm sorry, what did you say? Sasuke blushes even harder. Shutting his eyes he takes a breath and says, I can't find the outpost. I'm lost. Kiba just blinks. Processing the words, Kiba falls to the ground, clutching his sides in laughter. Sasuke's blush only worsens. It's not funny, dog breath. I don't have a dog's nose and smell like piss like you do. He huffs and turns away. Recovering from his laughter, Kiba wipes the stray tears from his eyes. Oh my gosh. Oh shit. Holy shit, that's hilarious, Sasuke. Kiba sees how pouty Sasuke is and smirks. He walks up to him and slaps his back. Come on, Uchiha. Let's get going before we both fail this exam. Kiba takes off into the trees at a moderate speed. Sasuke watches him and goes to follow until he notices a strange feeling inside of himself. As he notices this feeling, he catches a glimpse of Kiba's face. There's an ever-present half-smirk half-smile on the face of the Inuzuka heir. Seeing it, Sasuke finds it almost contagious. Humph. He grunts out with a smirk of his own. He follows behind the Inuzuka while thinking to himself that maybe this exam wasn't so bad after all. He isn't here yet, Yuya. Oh my gosh, what if he's hurt? I need to go find him, you guys. I'm going. Satsuki is hysterical. The clock is winding down and there's no sign of her brother. Every worst-case scenario is running through her head at the moment. Tsuya and Naruto are doing their best to calm her down, but Naruto realizes that trying to calm her down is like trying to pacify a distressing tsunade. Naruto sighs as Satsuki voices every one of those what-ifs a woman goes through when she can't find her child. Suddenly, Kiba lands at the outpost followed closely behind Sasuke. Sasuke! Satsuki shouts, running over to her twin. Sasuke flinches uncomfortably as Satsuki checks him over for any injuries, questioning why he was so late. Naruto smiles as his friend, Kiba, made it in time. Kiba gives him a thumbs up. What held you up, Kiba? Naruto asks. He rubs the back of his head sheepishly. Damn clones were hard as hell to hit. Plus they made sure they weren't anywhere near the totems. Naruto nods his head in understanding. He then glances at Sasuke. And what's the story there? He asks. Kiba shrugs. Figured he could use a hand. I mean, we're probably gonna end up fighting alongside each other, so what the hell? Naruto is shocked at Kiba's reasoning. He never expected someone as stubborn and prideful as Kiba to lend a hand to Sasuke of all people. His gaze softens but nods at Kiba. That's a good choice you made, Kiba. Though, if Sasuke was gone any longer, I'd have had to use a Makuten to keep Satsuki from rushing off after him. Kiba laughs at how he can see how true that is. He glances at Sasuke, who sighs in exasperation at his fussing sister. Getting annoyed, Sasuke growls. Get the hell off me, woman. Damn it, can't you see I'm fine? He shouts. Satsuki gasps and everyone else present widens their eyes. A few say a silent prayer for the wayward Uchiha. Seconds later, a fist slams down on the top of his head. Sasuke's face slams into the wooden floor of the outpost. A smoking lump emerges from his scalp and Satsuki huffs and storms away, grumbling about ungrateful brothers. Shaking their heads, the rest of the class continue chatting away about the exam and the shinobi life. Concluding the 2-hour exam, every student was accounted for and passed. Sasuke and Kiba finished last at a time of 1 hour 47 minutes and 53 seconds. Iruka congratulated the class for passing through the first 2 parts of the Junon exam without issue. Giving them an hour-long interlude to prepare for the final portion, Iruka tells them to report to the exam stadium for the final test. During the break, some students eat a light meal, some take naps, a few simply talk and chat as they make their way to the stadiums. Naruto is one of the latter. He joins Tsuya and Satsuki as they make their way to the stadium. Neither of them are even remotely winded. Naruto smiles as he converses with the two beautiful young women. Sure hope I get placed with you too. Naruto knows I love him and at least you're tolerable, pink eye. Tsuyu states. Satsuki nods. I hope I get placed with you too, as well. I just pray I'm not on Sasuke's team. He's my brother and I love him but he's hard to work with. I agree. Naruto adds. While I wouldn't mind teaming with any of them, I love you two girls. We'd make a great team. Plus, it's obvious that Sasuke doesn't like me. Tsuyu laughs boisterously. Got that right. Although I think that stick is lodged so far up his ass, he couldn't bring himself to like anyone anyways. Naruto laughs while Satsuki looks at Tsuyu incredulously. Yuya-chan. She exclaims. Tsuyu just looks at her. What? You know it's true. Hell, him and that Hyuga from last year are competing at this point to see how far that stick can go up their asses. This has Naruto wheezing while causing Satsuki to blush in disbelief at her friend. Tsuyu just laughs at their reactions. As they arrive at the stadium, Ananbu directs them to the competitor's box. The trio carry on talking while more people file in. Civilians, shinobi, clans, most of Konoha ended up coming to attend the matches. Tsuyu turns to Naruto. Looks like people came to see the son of their hero kick some ass. She says with a grin. Naruto returns her smile. Satsuki, not wanting to be left out, places a hand on his arm and gives him a fond squeeze. She sends Tsuyu a glance, which doesn't go unnoticed. The hour-long interlude ends and it's time for the Junon exam finals to begin. The 12 participants converge in the arena. Iruka goes over the rules and each student picks a number. Naruto draws 6. Tsuyu draws 2. Ino draws 9. Sasuke draws 1. Satsuki draws 10. Sai draws 5. Choji draws 3. Kiba draws 4. Hinata draws 8. Yakuma draws 12. Shino draws 11. Shikamaru draws 7. Iruka smiles and announces the matches as they are displayed in the stadium screen. The matches are decided. 1. Sasuke Uchiha vs Tsuya. 2. Choji Akamiki vs Kiba Inuzuka. 3. Sai vs Naruto Namikaze. 4. Shikamaru Nara vs Hinata Hyuga. 5. Ino Yamanaka vs Satsuki Uchiha. 6. Shino Aburame vs Yakuma Kurama. The matchups draw massive excitement from the crowd. They shout and cheer at seeing the promising young children battle. In the stands, Naruto can hear a particular woman shouting, "Place your bets." Taking bets here. Naruto looks to the stands and smiles as he sees a woman with a spiky purple ponytail, tan trench coat, and mesh top taking bets from people on the matches. She notices Naruto and smiles at him. He waves back. The woman in question is Onko Mitarashi. She is a fun, eccentric, and outgoing young woman. She and Naruto became friends years ago while he was training in the Forest of Death. The two developed a close bond with one another, bearing seals of burdens although Naruto's life was considerably easier than hers. The two are very fond of one another and last year, Naruto lost his virginity to the older teen. And a damn good lay he was. Anko sees, remembering the night fondly. She licks her lips, sending an unexplainable chill down Naruto's spine. He visibly shivers, giving Satsuki concern. "What's wrong, Naru-kun?" she asks. Naruto shakes his head. "I'm in danger." The students head up to the competitor's box. Naruto looks over to the cage box and sees his family. They wave at him, which he returns. Naruto also notices Mikoto standing with them. A bit strange since she isn't a Sannin and is the current Uchiha clan head. Naruto turns to Satsuki. Suki-chan. Why is Miko Bakken standing with Gigi?" he asks. Satsuki looks over and sees what he means. She shrugs. "I don't know. The Hokage has been talking with her a lot lately. I figure it must be clan business. I hope she's okay." Naruto frowns at the concern laced in her voice. He pulls her into a warm hug. In the cage box, Mikoto chuckles at the sight of Naruto hugging her daughter. Tsunade catches it and chuckles along with her. A good pair, aren't they, Miko-chan? Mikoto nods in agreement. "Absolutely. I can't imagine how strong their children will be." Hiruzen nods sagely. "Indeed. Tenseigan and Sharingan. What kind of eyes will that combination make, I wonder?" He then turns to Mikoto. "But enough of that. Are you ready, Mikoto-chan?" She nods. "Hi. I am, Ji-chan." He chuckles at how she addressed him. Standing, Hiruzen walks forward to make an announcement to the crowd. Strengthening his voice with chakra, he says, "Good citizens of Konoha. We are gathered on this fine day to witness the dawn of a new era. The passing of a torch. The emergence of the new generation of Konoha shinobi." He pauses as the crowd cheers. Continuing, He says, "The 12 Genin gathered here today mark a special day for me. Especially young Naruto here. 14 years ago, Konoha witnessed the noble sacrifice of a young man who loved this village, who died a cage's death. A death to ensure that their village will survive and live on. Naruto-kun, your father was a man who lived up to every bit of his legend. He was a great hero, a great kage, a loving husband, and a doting father. Fellow citizens of Konoha, I ask that we offer a moment of silence as we honor the memory of our beloved, fallen Yondaime Hokage." Hiruzen's words brought many of the citizens to tears. All of those gathered loved and respected the Yondaime greatly. Those who knew him, who watched him grow up, who fought alongside him, who were taught by him, who had feelings for him, who witnessed his sacrifice on the night of October 10. Minato Namikaze was a man of legend who embodied to will of fire. And the love the people of Konoha had for him lives on in the form of his son, Naruto Namikaze. Hiruzen gathers his thoughts and says one last silent prayer for the memory of Minato and Kushina. He continues his speech. "My beloved Konoha. I am old. Far older than a kage should be. I have lived through 3 great wars. I have fought, killed, bled, and suffered to protect the will of fire. And through all that, I lived to retire and pass on the mantle of Hokage to Minato. And yet, here I am again. Another tenure as Hokage, another generation of shinobi to welcome and guide, another speech to the people of Konoha that I so dearly love, and another Hokage to pass the mantle to." He pauses as he lets the gasps and whispers die out. Clearing his throat, he continues. "Fellow citizens, I have spent the last few months grooming the one to take my place as Hokage. Lecturing, instructing, imparting, and teaching everything I know about this duty to the one I have chosen to succeed Minato. And I have, without a shadow of a doubt, chosen the perfect successor. Time and again, this person has displayed that the will of fire burns brightly in them. Time and again, they have fought tooth and nail, through blood, sweat, tears, and sheer grit to preserve the leaf. Their loyalty, honor, dignity, and sense of duty has been proven and their strength has never been doubted. My fellow citizens, this person has proven themselves as skilled a shinobi as our very own Sannin and powerful enough to stand alongside Kushina Uzumaki as the deadliest kunoichi in our village." Eyes widen in recognition of who the man is referring to. Satsuki gasps, Naruto is stunned, the crowd is in disbelief. "Citizens of the Leaf. I give you the god-I'm Hokage. Mikoto Uchiha." The arena shakes as the crowd cheers for the announcement of the first female kage in history. Mikoto Uchiha, best friend and fierce rival of Kushina Uzumaki. Her strength is known throughout the elemental nations and she is certainly worthy of the hat. The benevolent Uchiha matriarch observes as the crowd cheers for her. She gives a warm smile, causing the men to cheer louder, much to the ire of Sasuke. Hiruzen hands Mikoto the hat, which she adorns. Jiraiya applauds and Tsunade hugs her tightly. She turns and waves to the crowd, causing the cheers to grow. Naruto smiles fondly at the woman he loves as an aunt. Allowing the cheers to cease, she begins her address. "My beloved Konoha, I am honored to uphold the position of God-I'm Hokage. It is my privilege to protect and serve you all as your leader. All I ask is that you help me grow as a kage as I will help Konoha grow as a village, and together, we shall all flourish under the great tree." The crowd applauds the beautiful words of their newly appointed Hokage. She then proceeds to address the current exam. "Today, we welcome our next generation of promising young shinobi in our ranks. Children, fight well, for the will of fire guides you. Good luck, and above all, stay safe. A kage she may be, but a mother she is above all else." Mikoto is a fierce fighting and loving mother all in one. She nods at Iruka, indicating that she is letting him take the stage. As the excitement dulls, the attention falls to the arena. Sasuke and Tuya stand on the field along with Iruka. The crowd goes silent as they wait for the match to begin. "Sasuke, you ready?" He nods. "Tuya, you ready?" She nods. "Okay. Begin." Iruka leaps backwards as the two charge forward and clash. Sasuke and Tuya engage in a taijutsu exchange to feel each other out. Sasuke quickly finds himself at a disadvantage as Tuya is able to parry and counter more often. Anko smiles. Straight to the punch. "I like these two." Separating, the crowd sees that Sasuke has more wounds than Tuya and is visibly more winded. "Damn it. She hits way too damned hard. Fucking tomboy tomato." Tuya suddenly gets the urge to kill Sasuke. And Satsuki sees her eyebrow twitch. Sasuke growls and flashes through a set of hand seals. He calls out, "Katen. Crimson Lotus." Tuya easily dodges the jutsu. As the jutsu explodes, Leaving a crater in the field, Tuya dodges a kunai slash from Sasuke and ducks into his guard to deliver a kick to his side. The two engage in another close combat and Tuya knocks the kunai out of his grip. The two exchange blows as Sasuke tries to create distance and launch another jutsu. Sasuke begins to realize that his attacks are missing more and more and he's also taking increasing damage. At the end of the 40 to 50 seconds exchange, Sasuke is bloodied and battered. His breath is labored and blood is trickling from his nose and mouth. Tuya is virtually untouched. She smirks and puts a hand on her hip. Satsuki picks up on Tuya's strategy and frowns. DCH. She's so cruel. The other Jonan hopefuls hear her and turn their attention to her. What are you talking about, Satsuki? Kiba asks. Satsuki sighs. Tuya is using a tactic my brother used. Our older brother. Their eyes widen. After each exchange, she casts a silent genjutsu on Sasuke. It's subtle, almost undetectable. Especially since Sasuke's genjutsu defense is average at best. For Tuya to use this in the middle of a fight without having a Sharingan is unheard of. I doubt even Kurenai-sensei is that advanced in genjutsu. The other examinees look on in disbelief. So, what kind of genjutsu is she using? Kiba asks. Satsuki scoffs. A very, very, very subtle one. She's basically making Sasuke see an attack that's coming from a different direction, different angle, different body part. Perhaps an attack not even coming at all. It's so subtle he can't even notice it. She's making Sasuke fight an imaginary fight. In the arena, Sasuke is completely baffled. What's happening? She's hitting me when I know I dodge and I'm missing when I know I hit her. How is that? Unless... No. He looks as Tuya charges forward with a fist raised. She says as she attacks, I see you figured it out. He moves to dodge but suffers a hit anyways. When did you blow to the gut cuts him off? The whole damn time. She answers. He lands on his back, wincing in pain. Kai. He hears. Tuya breaks the illusion she trapped him in. Sasuke opens his eyes to see Tuya standing over him with a sword pointed at him. She smirks. You were dancing to my tune the whole time, duck ass. He growls and scoffs, looking away in shame. Mikoto frowns as her son took the loss very personally. She is upset her son lost but it upsets her more that he wasn't accepting or acknowledging of her opponent's skill. Tuya is strong. Much stronger than she was at her age. Her full arsenal was not displayed but her decision-making and battle IQ was obvious. The two combatants head up to the stands. The crowd cheers at the exciting display of skill that Tuya showed. While the Jounin talk about the match, the raven-haired beauty, Kurenai, couldn't help but be both proud and jealous at the genjutsu mastery of her red-headed student. Even her skills hadn't reached that level. She smiles and continues to applaud the performance of her student. In the cage box, the legendary shinobi talk amongst themselves. Tsunade speaks up. So what do you think, Hokage-sama? She says with a smirk. Mikoto knew that would get under her skin. Tsunade-sensei, please. Mikoto looks down and shakes her head, earning a laugh from Tsunade and a chuckle from Hiruzen and Jiraiya. She answers, the girl's skill in genjutsu is nothing short of extraordinary. To cast a genjutsu in the heat of battle with no words or seals puts most Uchiha to shame. She shakes her head sadly. This was a bad matchup for Sasuke. His skills had no chance to be displayed. From the moment he engaged the girl in a direct close-quarters combat match, he was doomed. Hiruzen nods. She began to put him under her spell from the start. Jiraiya nods. And he kept singing her tune. A slow, gradual victory that never suffered any deviation. Outstanding. The crowd cheers as the next two contestants take the stage. The Jinan exams rage on, and the excitement continues to build. Chapter 3, Jinan exams conclusion. Sasuke makes his way to the competitor's box with a slight but noticeable limp. Kiba notices and goes over to check on him. Yo, Uchiha, you okay? He asks. Sasuke just looks at him. Scoffing, he turns away. I told you not to pity me, dog boy. Kiba smirks and sits next to the beaten Uchiha. He says to him, and I told you that it isn't pity, Uchiha. Look, you don't have your Sharingan, right? Don't beat yourself up over it. Sasuke growls and turns to Kiba. Just what do you know, Inuzuka? I need my Sharingan to avenge my clan. And look at her. That so-called sister of mine isn't even concerned with avenging our clan. And my mother tries to convince me to let it go. It's just me. I'm the only one who gives a damn about my slaughtered family members. Realizing his outburst, he turns to see that the other contestants were staring at him. He's ashamed he let his anger get to him. Not wanting to bear another moment under their stares, he gets up and turns to leave. Sorry. He says quietly. Satsuki frowns as she watches him leave. She worries over her brother. She knows that the massacre affected everyone, Not just the survivors themselves, but it seems that the scars reach deeper than she realized. Years later, Sasuke's psyche is still in pieces. Kiba just sits in his seat with his gaze downward. Naruto sees his friend's dilemma and walks over to him, sitting down beside him. He asks, "What's going on with you and Sasuke, Kiba? First you help him pass the second exam and now this?" Kiba frowns for a moment and sighs. "I can't help but feel for the guy, you know. I always pegged him for an uptight asshole but I realized there was more to him than that." This grabbed Naruto's attention, along with the rest of the soon-to-be rookies. Satsuki was listening closely to Kiba's explanation. Naruto says, "What brought this on, Kiba?" He goes on to explain, "He was having trouble finding a totem. I was heading to the outpost when I saw him and figured I'd mess with him. I realized that he and I had more in common than I figured." Naruto nods in understanding. Kiba continues, "We both worked extremely hard to get to where we are. No offense to Satsuki, but he works twice as hard as the rest of his family. From what I know, Itachi was a prodigy, Satsuki is a genius, but Sasuke didn't have the same advantages that came naturally to his siblings." Unknown to Kiba, his words brought a lot of understanding to Sasuke's situation that the other rookies hadn't thought of. Especially to Satsuki. It occurred to her that it only made sense, Sasuke is a product of hard work and determination. The jutsu that she mastered, the katas that she practiced, the lessons that she learned, they all simply clicked into place for her, if not the first time then only after a few repetitions. For Sasuke, it was different. She would find him grinding himself into the ground with training but never thought much of it. But Kiba shed some light onto it. Sasuke was trying to keep up. Maybe next time she could. "Don't pity him," Kiba says. Satsuki looks at him and sees that he was talking to her. "What do you?" He stops her. "That's the worst thing you could do for people like us. He got to where he is on his own. If you tried to help him now, it's a mark against his pride. He'll figure it out on his own. But don't pity him. You'll only push him further away." Kiba warns her. Naruto, though, realizes why Kiba understands Sasuke so well. He related more to Satsuki since he didn't need to train himself into the ground. Naruto's power came from his bloodlines, a product of chance that had his path laid out in front of him at birth. That's the reason Sasuke despised him. Naruto is too far ahead for him to catch. Too far ahead for even Itachi. In the cage box, Mikado frowns as she watched the scene play out. Ever since the night of the massacre, her son had been falling deeper and deeper into darkness, going down a path of no return. She watches as her daughter, Satsuki, struggles with the worry that plagues her. Soon, she'll need to reveal to her all the details of that night and the events leading up to it. After clearing his thoughts, Kiba heads down to the stadium along with Choji. Before taking position, Kiba turns to Choji with a feral grin. "Good luck, buddy." He offers a fist bump. Choji bumps his fist with Kiba. "Good luck," he says. The crowd cheers at the signs of respect they offered. Iruka smiles along with the Sandaime, Ga-Daime, and Sanin in the cage box. The show of sportsmanship was truly a representation of their lauded will of fire. Iruka glances at each contestant and they offer him a nod each. The smiles were gone, replaced by sheer determination. Kiba also knew that he'd get an earful from his mother if he lost in the first round. "Troublesome woman," he mutters. In the stands, two particular Nara sneeze and a beautiful woman with spiky hair and a slightly feral appearance grows a tick mark overhead. "I heard that, runt. I know you were talking about me," she shouts at her son, who whimpers slightly. Inuzukas learn from an early age to never piss off their mothers. Iruka's sweat drops at the comedy act. "Okay. Begin." Surprisingly, Choji bites his thumb, drawing blood, and flashes through some hand seals, causing his attending clan members to raise their eyebrows in surprise. Kushios no Jutsu. A plume of smoke appears, revealing a massive 12-feet grizzly bear with long sharp claws, battle armor, and a scar over its left eye. Kiba looks visibly shaken. It's not surprising considering that Choji has taken to wearing his family's battle armor and is noticeably more muscular while also maintaining his family's large frame. So, basically, Kiba is facing a man who is as large as bear dressed in battle armor and an actual bear dressed in battle armor. Fun day at the office. Shaking off his initial nerves, Kiba lowers into a battle stance. He tosses a pill into Akamaru's mouth and flashes through some hand seals. Ninpa. Man-beast clone. Akamaru transforms into an identical clone of Kiba. In the stands, Tsume nods her head at her son's use of her family's jutsu. The two teams charge against one another. Choji's taijutsu consists of heavy blows and standing grappling. He incorporates his family's jutsu to expand his body on the fly, making it a very difficult style to counter, as Kiba is having trouble dodging and evading even with his superior speed. Akamaru is having less trouble. The bear is slow and lumbering compared to Akamaru's natural canine speed. He's able to evade the bear and land claw/counters. What attacks the bear does land, however, feel like a tree fell on him. Akamaru keeps from dispelling by blocking and gritting his teeth through the pain. The bear is slow, but what attacks he does land hit like a ton of bricks. Wow! Look at Choji go. He's giving Kiba a hard time. Ino exclaims. Shikamaru watches with an analytical eye. He's hoping for his best friend to win. Kiba and Akamaru are doing well with their speed. It's obvious with their size and strength that each attack Choji and the bear land does way more damage. But Kiba and Akamaru are the ones with the advantage in this situation. They are hitting far more often than they're getting hit. Choji is gonna have to use some strategy to win. Shikamaru used to be more silent and talk less because it was too troublesome. But the academy had done well to alleviate that mentality. Shikamaru is a strategist with far more motivation than before. While he still doesn't like to waste energy, he has a lot more of it before. Rumors are that he is being scouted for Anbu. But that will have to wait for after he makes Chunin. Separating, Kiba flashes through several seals. Akamaru tosses several smoke grenades that cover the field with smoke. Choji grits his teeth but leaps out of the cloud with the bear since neither use wind jutsu. Suddenly he hears, fang over fang. Two whirlwinds of teeth and claws shoot out at Choji and his summon. The bear stops Akamaru with its claws and slams him into the ground. Choji expands his fists and smashes Kiba into the ground. Both go wide-eyed when the two poof into smoke. A pair of hands erupt from the ground beneath both Kiba and his summon. Doten. Double suicide decapitation. Kiba pulled a fast one on Choji. Thinking quickly, Choji pulls a Kawarimi but the bear gets pulled under. Choji retreats back into the cloud of smoke still lingering in the arena. Kiba grits his teeth. Damn it! Choji is stronger than I thought. Suddenly, Choji jumps out from the cloud of smoke with an expanded fist and attacks Kiba. Kiba dodges the attack and engages Choji in a taijutsu exchange. Akamaru goes to help Kiba. The pair quickly overwhelm Choji and Akamaru lands a rotating fang. Unfortunately, this Choji turned out to be an Earth clone. From the cloud of smoke, Kiba and Akamaru hear Choji call out, Doten. Rock slide shift. Followed by the bear, Doten. Stone pillar eruption. Choji's jutsu shatters the ground apart beneath Kiba and Akamaru. The technique catches them off guard and causes them to lose their balance. As they struggle to regain their footing, the bear summoning's jutsu sends massive stone columns erupting from the ground beneath them. Both Kiba and Akamaru take direct hits from the pillars, sending them flying. The attack leaves Kiba stunned as he comes falling back down to the ground. Choji takes advantage of Kiba's vulnerability and leaps into action. Expanding his right arm, Choji hammer fists Kiba, sending him crashing into the ground below. Choji lands beside him and gives Kiba one last crushing fist for good measure. As Choji was finishing off Kiba, his bear summons was handling Akamaru. The bear leaps into the air and delivers a brutal claw slash to Akamaru. The attack incapacitates Akamaru, sending him crashing into the ground and reverting back to his normal form, leaving him blooded and beaten. The crowd erupts into cheers as Choji, the underdog in the match, defeated Kiba in convincing fashion. Choji smiles and waves at the crowd. In the cage box, the Sannin and Hokages give Choji and Kiba a standing ovation. They applauded a high-level match between two talented prospects. That was a fantastic match. Tsunade exclaims. Hiruzen nods in agreement. Indeed. Such use of elemental jutsu and strategy is unbelievable. They fight with a great degree of intelligence and skill far beyond their years. Jiraiya nods as well. The use of clones to mask both of their attacks was well played. For the Akamiki kid to use his clan summons to even the odds was smart too. He also took advantage of the smoke that his own opponent introduced into the match. If this was the Chunin exams, I'd say they both passed. Mikito adds, my thoughts exactly. I wouldn't call either of them a loser in this match. Neither prospect relied too heavily on their clan jutsu and played a strategic chess match with one another. A fine performance, one worthy of a grander stage. In the competitors' box, the rookies were stunned at the finish to the match. Holy shit! That match was way more exciting than my match. Tuya exclaims. The other rookies nod in agreement. Shikamaru speaks up. Absolutely. I liked seeing Choji and Kiba trying to outsmart one another. They didn't even lean on their clan skills too much and actually used other jutsu. Naruto adds. That finish was pretty wild too. Choji was smart when he started the match by summoning a companion right away. He didn't let himself get dragged into a 2-on-1 fight like we thought he would. He nodded and speaks up. I just hope Kiba-kun is okay. He got hurt pretty badly. Naruto smiles at his pale-eyed friend. Why don't you go check on him, Hina-chan? Choji hit him really hard and his pride is damaged too. Hinata nods and goes down to the infirmary to check on Kiba. After a few more minutes of small talk, Naruto heads down to the arena with Sai. The two contestants exchange no banter or pleasantries. Iruka can feel the slight tension between the two. He sweats slightly as he sees the expressions on the two. Sai wears his normal fake smile. His soft, almost feminine features are twisted in a forced expression. Naruto's face is near the opposite. Icy, cold, devoid of emotion. His eyes are haunting, his Tenseigan unwavering and uncaring, as Iruka has never seen Naruto's combat face. They show a fierceness no child should have. Naruto's eyes have seen life or death combat, and he's always come out with the former as the result. In the past 6 years, he has faced more Iwa and Kumo death squads until Hiruzen forced them to come to peace talks. Naruto has torn through the enemy jounin that came for him, never sparing anyone. His reputation for killing Iwa and Kumo elites earned him the historical feat as the first S-class entry in the bingo book as a civilian and only the second SS-class entry in history, the first being his father. Of course, had the bingo book existed during the times of Hashirama and Madara, they would have obviously been SS-class, but that's besides the point. Iwa and Kumo wanted him dead at any cost. It wasn't until Hiruzen damned them and threatened a declaration of war that the Tsuchikage and Raikage saw reason and decided to agree to a peace treaty 3 years ago. Regardless, his bingo book entry still exists to this day. Name, Naruto Namikaze. Alias, Naruto of the Phantom Eyes, Konoha no Kemi. Bloodline, Unknown Dojutsu, Yotan, Hyotan, Makuten. Rank, SS Class, Civilian. Ninjutsu, S. Taijutsu, Unknown. Genjutsu, Unknown. Other documented abilities, unknown. Notes, unranked as a shinobi, has yet to graduate the Konoha Shinobi Academy. Known to have ruthlessly attacked and mercilessly slaughtered unsuspecting jounin squads from Iwa and Kumo. Has been seen using the Hyotan, Yotan, and Makuten Kekkei Genkai. Also possesses unknown dojutsu that allows him to conjure up an invisible force against enemies. He is the son of the Yellow Flash of Konoha, Minato Namikaze, and the Red Death, Kushina Uzumaki. Threat level, gauge, approach with extreme caution. Bounties, Iwagakure 60 million dead, 100 million alive. Kumagakure 30 million dead, 70 million alive. And for that, Sai felt fear for the first time. It is the first time he's ever felt true emotion. It was an alien experience for him. Or perhaps it wasn't. Sai grew up in a small village outside of Konoha, somewhere in the Land of Fire. He loved nature, he loved art, and he has faint memories of a time where he felt lighter. Sai remembers a boy he used to play with named Shin. He was a few years older than Sai and they always hung out together. He remembers faintly the faces of his parents, their smiles. True smiles. Shin asked him one day, in a distant memory of his, what he dreamed of doing when he became older. Sai replied with a smile, "I want to be a famous painter when and travel the elemental nations." He remembered seeing Shin smile. "That's cool, Sai. When I grow up, I'm gonna be a powerful shinobi." That's the last memory Sai has before they came. The bandits. That night, Sai remembers eating dinner with Shin at his family's home. The bandits came and broke down their door. His father tried to fight them off, only to be killed. They dragged his mother upstairs. He remembers her screams and the twisted grins on their faces. He remembers shaking, a heavy weight over his shoulders, clutching onto Shin with tears in his eyes. Was that fear? They grabbed Shin and stabbed him, Sai remembers screaming. Out the corner of his eye, he sees a man carrying the naked form of a woman outside, his mother. Why was she naked? The bandit who stabbed Shin goes to grab Sai next. That's when he remembers hearing the bandits scream. The shinobi who came to save him. He remembers seeing the angry looks on their faces as they killed the bandits. One noticed Sai, but Sai didn't move. He just kept staring at the shinobi with his eyes widened. He remembers their hand glowing green and falling asleep. When he woke up, he was in Konoha. Sai remembers now. This feeling, it's the same as back then. It must be fear. He thinks to himself. He looks down, his hand is shaking slightly. His breathing has increased and there is a tightness in his chest. His eyes are wider and focused, his pulse quickened. Sweat rolls down his forehead. Yes, this is fear. Iruka looks at both competitors. He doesn't ask anything. Begin. Sai leaps back and pulls out a scroll. Super Beast Scroll. He quickly draws an animal and it comes to life from the scroll. It rushes at Naruto to attack him. Naruto makes no attempt to move, He only stares at Sai with his cold gaze. The ink monsters close in on Naruto and pounce but are suddenly dispersed by an unseen force. Sai's eyes widen in surprise momentarily before he draws another creature, this one larger than the first. He summons it and it goes to attack Naruto again, only to be destroyed by the invisible force. Naruto hasn't moved a muscle. Sai's gaze hardens slightly. He stores his scroll away and flashes through several hand seals. Katen. Grand Fireball. He blasts a fireball of impressive size at Naruto. This causes Naruto to show some emotion. A smirk. Naruto responds by holding up a single seal. Suten. Raging Torrent. Water seemingly appears from thin air and gathers to form a powerful geyser that blasts forward, colliding with the fireball and overpowering it. Sai dodges out the way of the water attack. Sai becomes frustrated, another strange feeling he's never felt before. He flashes through more hand seals. Doten. Stone Fissure. The ground in front of Sai ruptures as stones begin to emerge upwards, creating a wave of rocks that blast towards Naruto. Naruto smirks again and raises his foot. Tsunade's eyes widen. Get down. She shouts as loud as she can. Jiraiya ducks behind the seats as Tsunade and Mikoto huddle up and cover their heads. Hiruzen doesn't move. In the competitor's box, Tuya and Satsuki hide behind the barricade but still peek over to watch. Heavenly Foot of Pain. Naruto brings his foot down. The entire arena ground compresses. Sai's jutsu was completely negated. The resounding shockwave blasts Sai from the center of the arena grounds and sends him crashing into the wall behind him. Cracks form in the stadium infrastructure. Chunks of stone fall from the roofing but are deflected by Anbu before they injure the spectators. In the area surrounding the stadium, building walls crack and windows shatter. Several civilians lose their balance and fall, and carts collapse. Earthquake. One civilian yells. As the tremors stop, Tsunade looks down at the arena. The area looks like a decaying bowl. Naruto stands in the epicenter and looks back up at his surrogate mother and smiles. The buxom blonde returns it and shakes her head. I think he made the whole stadium sink a few feet, she says. She looks back at Mikoto, who is shaking the cobwebs out of her head. Sheesh, she says. You really taught him that move? Tsunade laughs. Yeah, but I didn't think he'd use it in a place like this. Jiraiya stirs but has to shake off some rubble that fell on his head. Ugh. He's definitely your grandson, Tsunade. More like your son, to be honest. In the stands, Anko makes it to her feet, albeit wobbly. She helps up Kurenai. Fucking hell, that kid gets scarier each time he fights. Kurenai, visibly shaken, nods. Reminds me of when he went overboard in the West area 4 years ago. They still haven't finished rebuilding. Kakashi shakes his head. In the interest of fairness, Naruto shouldn't be participating in these exams. Kurenai looks at Kakashi questioningly. What do you mean, Kakashi? He closes his visible eye to explain. Not many shinobi can fight against him anyways. If he went rogue, he could turn Konoha into a smoldering crater and nobody could stop him. Kurenai widens her eyes and Anka nods in agreement. She adds, I love the Gaki but he even scares me sometimes. She shivers slightly. I won't ever forget that time when he actually got angry. Kakashi looks down. Yeah. It was terrifying for everybody. Kurenai shivers more obviously. Right. That killing intent. It was worse than Kyuubi's. That night gave her a particularly bad memory of actually pissing her pants. Anko asks Kakashi, by the way, is it actually true that people really died from the killing intent alone? Kakashi nods. Anko widens her eyes. Wow, shit. I gotta learn how to do that. Kurenai frowns and slaps her friend's shoulder. Kakashi sighs. He also drove 2 Chunin insane. One pulled his own ears off and gouged out his left eye. The other was pulling his own hair out of his head and chewed off his own fingertips. The last I heard. He bit his own tongue off. The 2 women shudder at the grotesque details. They all silently thank God that Naruto is friendly. In the competitor's box, Choji used his expansion jutsu to protect the class from the falling debris. Shikamaru mutters, troublesome whiteheads. That causes his classmates to laugh. Iruka looks over at Sai. The pale boy is unconscious with blood running down his forehead. He announces, winner by knockout, Naruto Namikaze. Medics. Satsuki sighs. I know Naru-kun is strong and all but that was overkill. She furrows her brow but smiles at her childhood friend. Tuya coughs at the dust from the debris. Yeah, cough, feel bad for the other guy, though. He got his ass handed to him. Shikamaru stands and walks over next to Satsuki and Tuya. He sighs. If it were anyone else, it would have been a good match. Sai is strong. But compared to Naruto, anyone would look weak. He then looks toward the cage box. If those four were to fight Naruto right here and now, I'd put my money on Naruto. The other rookies look at Shikamaru stunned. Ino says, You're joking, right Shika? He shakes his head. I'm completely serious, Ino. Naruto is my friend, our friend. But... Shikamaru frowns. Sometimes he makes me think that he isn't human. What Shikamaru doesn't know is that Naruto faces that very dilemma every day. He searches for his own identity, his own purpose. The only similarity he has with his parents is the shape of his face. Naruto's hair isn't blonde or red, it's white. A brilliant, platinum white that is reminiscent of the most vibrant full moon. His power is unexplainable. His comprehension of shinobi arts defies reason. His eyes. Why was he born with them? For Naruto, the truest separation is in the eyes of his friends. He sees their respect, their admiration. But underneath those lies something darker. Fear. And even worse, envy. Even the citizens, behind all the Namikaze-samas and Naruto-samas, they fear him. It's a painful reality, that the ones you love and care for are also the ones who fear you. He's slowly come to accept it, that you can't have great power without receiving both love and fear from those you swore to protect. But that doesn't make it any less painful. Shikamaru's words weigh heavily on the other rookies. Naruto walks back up and joins his friends. Tuya and Satsuki smiles and greet him, and he carries on a conversation with them about the match. Shikamaru smiles and joins in, as does the other rookies. They put Shikamaru's words behind them for now. Naruto's humanity is a story for another time. Shikamaru and Hinata make their way to the repaired arena. Shikamaru smiles at Hinata. Good luck, Hinata. He says. Hinata nods. Good luck, as well, Shikamaru-kun. Iruka gives the signal to begin. But Hinata does something that surprises everyone. Raising her hand, Hinata announces. Proctor, Shikamaru-kun is the worst matchup for me. I'd like to forfeit. Iruka raises an eyebrow. Hinata's father frowns, as does her little sister, Hanabi. Would you care to explain, Hinata? Iruka asks. Hinata answers. Shikamaru-kun has very strong shadow manipulation jutsu. The best option I have is to fight at a distance, but I don't have strong enough water jutsu or large chakra reserves to outlast Shikamaru-kun. He have one anyways. I'd rather save my strength for the next round. Iruka nods. Hinata's explanation was sound and he respected Hinata's choice. Hinata looks at Shikamaru. Forgive me, Shikamaru-kun. I just couldn't think of a way for this match to end in my favor. Shikamaru chuckles. It's fine, Hinata. Funny you should say that though. I already planned 27 different ways to win. I was actually hoping you would fight. Hinata laughs. Both at Shikamaru planning out ways to defeat her and also at the idea that Shikamaru wanted to fight. I'm sorry, Shikamaru-kun. But next to Naruto-kun, you're probably the worst opponent I could have drawn. Shikamaru nods and the two head up to the stands to watch the next match. Tsunade, Mikito, Jiraiya, and Hiruzen agree that it was smart for Hinata to forfeit. There's no shame in backing out when you have no chance to win. They're shinobi, not samurai. In the infirmary, Kiba lays in his bed mulling over what happened during his fight. He couldn't believe how Choji was able to outmaneuver him. He trained so hard for so long and he still lost. It was unbearable. All that time, all that effort. And yet he still lost. Kiba grits his teeth as the match plays back in his head. The initial exchange, the double suicide decapitation, the finish. Everything. He needs to fix everything. As soon as this is over he's gonna train. He'll get stronger and never lose again. Not to Choji, not to Shikamaru, not to Naruto, not Kiba. The voice breaks Kiba from his thoughts. He looks up to see who it is. His eyes widen. Sasuke? The match between Ino and Satsuki was relatively underwhelming. Ino was strong, her fire affinity was great and she's shaping up to be the most well-rounded Yamanaka in her clan, but Satsuki is on another level. Trying to use fire against her is like trying to kill a bear with a toothpick. She definitely takes after her mother in that regard. Satsuki finished her without much fanfare. The surprising ending was that Yakumo managed to defeat Shino. Shino is considered a prodigy in the Aburame clan and was the overwhelming favorite to win the match. Yakumo came from a lesser clan, even if she is considered a genjutsu prodigy herself. The two exchanged several jutsu throughout the relatively short match, but when Shino decided to release a swarm against Yakumo, thinking she was wounded enough to finish her, the insects attacked him, trapping him in a bug-binding restraint. Shino asked how, as did everyone else. Yakumo revealed that during the match, she had been silently casting genjutsu barrier around his body that had no effect on him but instead on his insects, controlling the flow of chakra that they have their small bodies. When Shino finally attacked with him, she activated the Genjutsu to make them turn on their host. An ingenious strategy that made Kurenai, once again, shake her head at her students, once again surpassing her. With the first matches coming to a close, Mikado announced a 1-hour interlude for the prospects to rest and relax in preparation for the second phase. Sasuke smirks at the surprise evident on Kiba's face. "Yeah, it's me. I caught your match, by the way, dog boy." Kiba scoffs. "And what? Come to rub it in my face?" Sasuke shakes his head. "You did good, Kiba. Honestly, better than I think I would have done against the Akamiki." "Say what?" Kiba blinks, at a total loss for words at what he had just heard. "Come again?" he says, dumbfounded. Sasuke frowns. "The Akamiki? He's really strong. At my current skill level, I don't think I could have won. In fact, I know I would have lost." Kiba must be going crazy. The Sasuke Uchiha admits that someone is stronger than him? Must be a cold day in hell. Sasuke sighs. "Look. I know I'm not the easiest guy to get along with. Hell, most of the others probably hate me. But for what it's worth, I'm sorry for lashing out at you." Kiba really must be losing his shit. Not knowing what he should say, Kiba responds, I don't really blame you, Sasuke. If anything, you handle the situation you're in better than anyone else would have." Sasuke looks at Kiba questioningly. "What do you mean?" Kiba groans and sits up, wincing in pain. He sighs. "Most people are born with everything or nothing, Sasuke. You had everything, but then it was all taken from you in one night. That alone would have broken me." He then looks at Sasuke. "But it didn't break you. You pushed forward. Your sister started getting stronger than you. You pushed even harder. You keep moving on, Sasuke. You keep working towards your dreams. Most would have given up and put a kunai in their own guts. You're strong, man. I respect that." Sasuke widens his eyes. It begins to dawn on him that Kiba actually does understand him. He clenches his fists. Kiba is right, everything up to this point was painful. Living in the compound, the memories of everything that used to be there. The harsh training and the efforts of getting stronger. Only to see everyone else around him surpass him. Everything was beginning to seem pointless. How could he ever hope to kill Itachi if he can't even beat his classmates? And then Kiba's words tear those concerns away. He just had to keep doing what he was before. Push forward, never give up, never look back. He realized what it was about Kiba. He shared a similar burden with him. Sasuke understands now, he understands what Kiba is. A friend. Sasuke smiles. Kiba sees this and his eyes grow to the size of saucers. Sasuke frowns. "What?" Kiba stutters. Dude. You're smiling?" Confused, Sasuke asks, "So?" "But you never smile. You're Sasuke the brooding prince." Kiba says, terrified that the person in front of him is an imposter after his life. Sasuke growls and smacks Kiba over the head. "Ow. What the hell, dickhead? Can't you see I'm injured here?" Sasuke snaps back, "So? I'm human, I have a right to smile, you know." The two lock eyes and growl at each other. Sasuke straightens up and just looks at Kiba. He smiles again. He chuckles and that chuckle grows into a laugh. Kiba is officially fearing for his own safety now. Sasuke composes himself. "Ah, man. I'm sorry, Kiba. It's just, I can't thank you enough." "Huh? Thank me for what?" Sasuke sighs. "You talked me straight, Kiba. You're right, everything did start to seem meaningless. But I can't give up now. I'll catch up eventually. I'll catch up and pass everyone." Kiba smiles and nods. "Definitely, man." Sasuke holds out his hand. "Friends?" And Kiba takes it. "Friends." The two friends continue to talk as the matches continue in the arena. Kiba and Sasuke share stories of their experiences and talk about different training methods and possibly trying out new training techniques. The trainer comes in and clears Kiba to continue the tournament. The two friends head out back to the competitor's box, talking and laughing as they do. The crowd is tired. The matches were filled with action-packed excitement that drove their viewers to edge of their seats, leading to an eruption of cheering for a climactic finish. The talent-filled brackets progressed further and further. The day drew on. The graduates proved their strength and skill against one another. By evening, everyone is eager to see the tournament finale. It boiled down to a match that had been long overdue. Two of the strongest shinobi in the village, competing for, not only titles and bragging rights, but to settle a long-standing grudge several years old. Two crowd favorites ready to settle the score. The final match of the series. Satsuki vs Tuya. Yup, Satsuki vs Tuya is the last match of the exam. What happened to Naruto? It's actually quite simple. It came time for Naruto to face Tuya in the semifinals. As the two took center stage, they exchanged a few words. Damn. Sure wasn't looking forward to this, Naruto-kun. Tuya says. Naruto raises an eyebrow. Why is that, Taiyu-chan? She sighs. You know why. I don't like fighting people I'm close to. Plus, I know you're gonna kick my ass. Just make sure you don't kill me, okay? Naruto laughs and Iruka shakes his head at the exchange. He gives the signal to begin but Naruto raises his hand. I forfeit. The stadium is silent for a moment. What? Naruto chuckles but Tuya scowls at him. The fuck is going on, shithead? You too good to fight me or something? Naruto holds his hands up in surrender. Whoa, Taiyu-chan. That's not it at all. He exclaims. Tuya growls. Then why'd you quit without fighting, dickhead? Naruto sighs and rubs the back of his head sheepishly. 'Cause I swore I'd never hurt you or Satsuki ever. Remember? Tuya looks at him in confusion until she remembers a memory from long ago. Very long ago. Wait, you mean when we were kids at the playground? Naruto nods. You dumbass. That and this is different. He shakes his head. Not to me, Taiyu-chan. I'm not fighting either of you. Ever. I love the both of you too much to fight, even as friends. Why do you think I avoid sparring either of you? He walks off, waving back at her over his shoulder. Good luck in the next round, my Benihim. Naruto leaves a blushing Tuya standing in the middle of the arena. She mutters to herself. Baka. This interaction caused the cage booth occupants to chuckle. Quite the charmer, wouldn't you say, Tsunade-sensei? Mikado asks. Tsunade chuckles. Just like his father. Mikado laughs. Oh, definitely. I just hope he isn't as dense as Minato-kun. Kushi-chan basically had to jump his bones to get her point across. The others laugh. Hiruzen speaks up. I doubt Naruto-kun is that dense. That boy is sharper than a kunai. They all nod. Jiraiya, though, scribbles furiously in his notepad, giggling perversely. Hey. The godly warrior and the red and black princesses? Ooh. I can make it a whole series. Icha, godly heroes harem sexcapades. Perfect. Ha. My godson is a gold mine. Presently, Tuya and Satsuki are having an intense stare-down. Iruka, being the veteran shinobi that he is, wisely lets the two vixens settle their business. The tension is suffocating between the two. Iruka can't help but sweat at the amount of hostility in the air. For Tuya, Satsuki almost represents a physical manifestation of her insecurities. Beautiful, powerful, dignified, practically royalty due to her clan, kind, gentle, refined. She can go on and on. Tuya was the opposite. She's brash, crass, violent, brutally honest and lacking subtlety, totally unrefined and unladylike, and she's an orphan. Why do these things bother her so much? Because she loves Naruto. The fiery redhead was alone when she first came to Konoha. Naruto was the first person her age to approach her. She was, naturally, apprehensive and hostile, but it didn't bother Naruto. He stayed with her, helped her, introduced her to his family, never left her alone. He made her feel loved after she lost everything. Tuya refused to lose that. He was kind, gentle, caring, fiercely protective and ruthless to anyone who threatened her. He killed for her. Just as Naruto vowed to never let harm come to her, she vowed to remain loyal to Naruto for her life. Satsuki shared a similar situation to Tuya. She and Naruto are childhood friends. He came over and played in their compound together with her and Sasuke when they were young. But after the massacre, Satsuki was fearful and fragile. But Naruto vowed to her that he'd never let her get hurt. He was her support when her brother grew distant and her mother was coping with the loss as well. He stayed strong in her time of weakness, gave her the will to move on and protect those she still had. He refused to let her fall to hatred and revenge. Naruto's companionship saved her and kept her true to herself. She'd happily spend a lifetime returning the love and care he gave to her. Which leads to the present situation. Both girls love the same man. Both have true reasons to love him. Both refuse to let him go. So here they stand, swords ready to clash. One of them must lose. Konoha no Benihime versus Konoha no Kurohime. The battle begins without a signal. Their swords flash as the sound of clashing steel echoes throughout the Colosseum. Satsuki's fully matured Sharingan blazes but Tuya doesn't allow their eyes to meet. The Sharingan sees through most genjutsu and Tuya doesn't allow Satsuki to cast hers on her, so they lose a major weapon in their respective arsenals. Tuya delivers a hard kick to Satsuki's abdomen, giving herself some time to fly through some hand seals. Uten. Piercing wind bullet. Satsuki dodges the attack. Tuya creates a shadow clone to engage Satsuki and buy herself some time. Satsuki flashes through some seals of her own, though. Katen. Great fire annihilation. Satsuki spews out a torrent of fire that engulfs the majority of the field. When the flames cease, Tuya is nowhere to be found. Satsuki catches on too late. Tuya bursts from the ground beneath her. Rasengan. The rotating orb of chakra smashes into Satsuki's back, only to tear through a splintering log. Satsuki managed to Kawarimi with a nearby log. She bores a hole in Tuya with her scowl. "How the hell do you know Narukun's jutsu? Did you steal that too?" she demands. Tuya returns the scowl with her own venomous gaze. "I didn't steal shit, bitch. Naruto-kun taught it to me himself. So before you go accusing me of shit, get your facts straight first, plunderpuss." In the stands, Anka laughs at the toxic banter between the two girls. "Ha ha ha ha. These girls got spunk. Naruto-kun's got himself a catfight on his hands." Kurenai frowns. "Anko-chan, I don't think we should cheer for these two girls fighting over the same guy." Anko smirks. "Oh, come on, Nai-chan. You gotta admit, it makes the match more interesting, right? It's like a real-life soap opera." Meanwhile, Satsuki gets to her feet, a hardened scowl adorning her beautiful features. "Fine. You wanna play that way, bitch?" Her right arm is suddenly engulfed in lightning. "Let's play." Tuya smirks. Holding out her own right hand, she forms a Rasengan. "Bring it on, thunder cunt. I'm gonna shove this Rasengan so far up your ass, you'll taste the chakra in it." The two lock eyes. And they charge. The fierce warriors never turn their gazes from each other. And when Rasengan meets Chidori, neither of them gives an inch. They clash, both techniques pushing against one another. The resounding clash creates a deep crater beneath the two fighters. Finally, the Rasengan overpowers Satsuki's refined Chidori. The dense, compressed sphere of rotating chakra overwhelms the sporadic chakra blade. The chakra sphere pushes through Satsuki's attack and is headed straight for Satsuki's chest. Suddenly, the Rasengan explodes. The two girls are launched backwards, away from each other. Dust and debris cover the arena, obscuring the vision of the crowd. When the smoke finally clears, Satsuki and Tuya can be seen standing, their gazes still piercing one another. Satsuki standing with her shoulders slumped, right arm dangling and clutching her shoulder with her left. Blood trickles down her hand. Tuya fares no better. Her right arm is visibly damaged but she makes no effort to acknowledge it. Both girls are winded and breathing heavily. Suddenly, they get a second wind. Gritting their teeth, they rush forward, both girls throwing punches with their good arms and kicks with what strength they have. Tuya parries an overhead punch from Satsuki and headbutts her, sending her reeling. She grabs a handful of Satsuki's hair and brings her face down to deliver a knee. Her nose shatters and the grisly crack echoes through the stadium. Satsuki recoils from the pain and Tuya takes advantage of that and delivers a punch to her jaw. Satsuki goes down and Tuya gets to mount and starts raining punches down with both hands, ignoring the pain. Iruka rushes over and tackles Tuya off of Satsuki, seeing the Ravenette unable to defend herself. "Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!" Iruka waves off the match. He goes to check on Satsuki. She wasn't conscious to remember her opponent's ruthless ground and pound. Calling over the medics, Iruka raises Tuya's hand. Winner by knockout and this year's champion of the stage, Tuya. The crowd stands to their feet and applauds the performance of the redhead. In the cage box, they all applaud the girl. Hiruzen chuckles. "Quite the fight between those girls. They definitely remind me of you and Kushina-chan, Mikoto-chan." Mikoto laughs nervously. She turns to Hiruzen uncomfortably. "We weren't that bad, Sandaime-sama." Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Hiruzen deadpan. Hiruzen speaks up. "Oh really? I specifically recall having to step in before the two of you killed each other on several occasions." Mikoto blushes. "Oh, ha ha ha. I'm sure you." "I lost count of how many times I have to heal either of you from life-threatening injuries." Tsunade adds. The Godime's blush deepens. That was. "And poor Minato got hurt several times trying to break it up between the two of you." Jiraiya finishes. Mikoto hangs her head in embarrassment. "Rough first day as Hokage." "Hokage." Mikoto laughs slightly at a sudden memory that surfaces. Tsunade sees and raises an eyebrow. "What is it?" she asks. Mikoto shakes her head. She wipes a straight heat from falling. "It's just. Kushi-chan's dream was to be Hokage." She shouted it as loud as she could her first day in the academy. Mikoto sobs lightly at the memory of her best friend and most bitter rival. "Honestly, I wish it was her who got to stand here today and take this hat." Hiruzen, Tsunade, and Jiraiya frown in sadness. Tsunade asks her former student, "Her death hit you a lot harder than you let on, didn't it?" Mikoto sniffles and wipes a few more tears from her face. "Wasn't it obvious? I might have hated the tomato tomboy, but she was still my best friend. She deserved to be here for Naruto-kun. I remember how happy she was when she found out she was pregnant. Mikito laughed slightly. She was so vibrant, so excited. That was the happiest I've ever seen her. Mikito is visibly crying at this point. She turns to leave and compose herself. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Tsunade goes to comfort her. Tsunade-chan. She turns and sees that Hiruzen called her. He shakes his head. The elderly man sighs. She's finally letting out those bottled-up emotions she held back for her best friend. Jiraiya nods. Seeing her daughter and Tuya fight must have brought back the memories. He turns to Tsunade. Why don't you go help heal the two of them? Aren't you supposed to be the greatest medic in the elemental nations? That turned him a fist to the skull. With the rookies, Shikamaru approaches Naruto. Naruto. He turns to face his friend. Yeah, Shika? You interfered, didn't you? Naruto chuckles. Nothing escapes your eyes, does it, Shika? He shakes his head. I didn't see it happen, but I figured it out. Tuya should have killed Satsuki with that Rasengan. Instead it exploded. That explosion should have killed them both. Instead, they flew backwards away from the blast and they were back to their feet with small injuries. Naruto chuckles but nods his head. It's obvious that the only one with that kind of power, to save them both the way it happened, is you. Naruto lowers his head and raises his hands in surrender. I got it, I got it. Guilty as charged. You caught me red-handed. Shikamaru smirks. Shaking his head, he says. Troublesome whitehead. With the matches concluded, the Junon exams ended. Mikito proudly announces that all 12 entrants earn the rank of Junon of Konoha. Everyone in attendance welcomes the new generation of shinobi to their ranks. This day, many events set forth a timeline that will shake the very core of the shinobi world. Fates were decided, destinies have been sealed, and the course of history forever changed. Chapter 4, The Bonds That Shape Us. I thank you all for gathering here today. I'm sure you all know why I have called you all together, of course. The God Im assembled all the Jounin together in the Hokage's office. It had been 3 days since the Junon exams took place. It was now time to announce who she had chosen to be teamed together. Now, would this year's Jounin sensei please step forward? The one selected did as ordered. Do any of you have any specific students you would like to take? The raven-haired goddess, Kurenai Yuhi, steps forward, along with the legendary Kakashi Hitake. Who would you like to take, Kurenai? Mikito asks. I'd like to request Yakumo Kurama and Tuya, Hokage-sama. She answers. Noted. And you, Kakashi? I'd like to request Sasuke Uchiha, Satsuki Uchiha, and Naruto Namikaze. He answers. The collective Jounin gasp and murmur amongst themselves. Noted. Mikito leans back in her seat. She strikes a surprisingly imposing figure. The Uchiha matriarch looks surprisingly at home in the Hokage robes. Many of the men find themselves suppressing a blush when in her presence. An undeniable rule is that they do not disrespect her. She has earned her position. While not considering her as Hokage before, the stories of her accomplishments in battle as a shinobi are legendary. She announces her decision. I have chosen this year's teams. Any questions or concerns will be addressed when I have finished. Understood? The Jounin nod. Good. She reads from the list she created. Team 1 will be Naruto Namikaze, Satsuki Uchiha, and Tuya. Their Jounin sensei will be retired Anbu Captain Yugao Uzuki, who has been reinstated into the Jounin forces. The Jounin voice their surprise while Kakashi is visibly shaken. He wanted to be the one to guide the family members of his fallen sensei and teammate. He clenches his fists and grits his teeth. When he is about to voice his opinion, a hand grasps his shoulder. He turns and sees that Kurenai is the one who stopped him. She shakes her head, advising him against what he is about to do. When he turns his attention to the Hokage, he sees that she is staring back at him with an icy gaze. A gaze that says try me. Kakashi suppresses his thoughts and accepts what he can get. Continuing on, Mikito goes through the next teams. Team 2 will be Hinata Hyuga, Yakumo Kurama, and Shino Aburame. Their Jounin sensei will be Kurenai Yuhi. Team 3 will be Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akamiki. Their Jounin sensei will be Asuma Sarutobe. And Team 4 will be Sasuke Uchiha, Kiba Inuzuka, and Sai. Their Jounin sensei will be Kakashi Hitake. Any questions? None. Speak up. Dismissed. Kakashi, you stay behind. As the Jounin leave, Kurenai takes a worried glance back at the white-haired Jounin. Asuma notices this. Hey! He says. Kurenai looks towards him. He'll be alright. Come on, let's go grab some lunch and go pick up the brats afterwards. Kurenai hesitantly nods before following behind him. She spares one last glance to the one-eyed Jounin. As the door closes behind them, Mikado and Kakashi engage in a stare-off. Several tense moments pass before Kakashi concedes, closing his eyes and turning away. Mikado begins, "I know why you wanted those three in particular. And there are several reasons why I chose not to adhere to your request. Do you have any idea why, Jounin Kakashi?" Kakashi flinches slightly at the tone in his leader's voice. He knew he wasn't speaking to Mikado Uchiha. No, this was the god-I'm Hokage, Mikado the Firestorm. "I do not, Hokage-sama." Mikado nods. "It's because you won't handle them responsibly, Kakashi. You're lucky that I'm allowing you to take a team at all," she answers. Kakashi widens his visible eye. "Hokage-sama, may I please ask you to clarify?" he requests. Mikado leans back in her chair. "You're eaten up by guilt, Kakashi. And that guilt will make you unpredictable. I put Satsuki, Naruto, and Tuya together because I know they will work well. Yuga won't coddle them, not that they need any of that. They will work tirelessly, churning out missions and eating shit in the field. I know for a fact you won't do that, Kakashi. You'll try to make up for what mistakes you made in the past. I don't need that for my Jinan. I gave you Sasuke because he'll need you for when his Sharingan awakens. That doesn't mean I'm giving you permission to neglect training your other students. If I find out you are, I'll kick your ass myself and boot you back down to a Chunin gate guard. Remember, they are your team, Kakashi. That means that you are responsible for them." Kakashi hangs on to every word the Uchiha matriarch batters him with. It was scary, hearing the kind and lovely woman take this kind of tone. Even her Anbu guard shiver at the chilling tone in her voice. You could hear the combat experience oozing through her voice. Kakashi shivers at the slight killing intent she is subconsciously releasing. When she finishes her tirade, Kakashi turns to leave faster than he realized. But he is halted from his escape. "And one more thing, Kakashi." He turns and looks back at his Hokage. "Take my advice, as someone who has also dealt with personal losses. You're handling it the wrong way. Do you think they would want to see you like this?" Kakashi's eye widens again. "No, Hokage-sama." He replies, "MHM. And how do you think they would want you to handle losing them?" She continues, "To stay strong." Yeah, you could say that. How would you have liked them to handle losing you, Kakashi?" she adds. Kakashi is surprised. He didn't even think of that as a possibility. He hardens his gaze and steels his resolve to keep moving forward. "I would want them to fight harder knowing that even in depth, I am always by their side. That's exactly what Obito wanted when he gave me this eye. That's exactly what Rin said when I killed her." He closes his eye and sheds a tear for his fallen team. Opening it, the strength returns to his gaze. "She told me that this wasn't the end. That she and Obito will always be here, fighting at my side." He sighs. "I'm such a fool, Hokage-sama. What have I been doing all this time?" He turns back to the Hokage. Her steely glare had been replaced by a soft, motherly smile. "Hurting, Kakashi? You were hurting." She turns and walks towards the window, observing the people she now leads. "This village has taken so much from you, child. Your father, a man I still greatly look up to, was ridiculed and driven to suicide. Your sensei, our greatest hero, sacrificed himself to save our beloved village. His wife, a woman who had become a surrogate mother to you, also died that very same night. Your teammates were killed, your friends in the Uchiha clan." The Hokage sighs, taking a breath for a moment. "Since you were a child, you have been plagued by losses, Kakashi. How you are still sane is a mystery." She turns to him. "My advice is to live for the ones still here. Don't stay trapped in the past any longer, Kakashi. Impart this team with your knowledge and wisdom. It is the duty of the old generation to teach the young ones the lessons we learned from our own mistakes. Can you do that, Jounin Kakashi?" He answers, his gaze unwavering. "Hi, Hokage-sama." Mikado nods. "Good. You are dismissed." As Kakashi leaves, she releases a sigh. "I've got to stop lecturing so much." She returns to her desk and stares at the piles of paperwork. She shrugs and creates 3 shadow clones to handle it. Reaching into her desk, she pulls out a book. Shattered Moonlight by N. Kamikaze. It's a fascinating romance novel written by an aspiring young author. The main character is the reincarnation of the sun. He was betrayed by the goddesses Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi, slaying him and sealing his lover inside the moon and plunging the world into darkness. He was reincarnated into the world of Takamagahara, where he battles through gods and legions of their armies to save his beloved and reunite with her once again, bringing the light back to the world of man. The next day, the rookie 12 all gathered in the academy classroom this morning. Today was the day their shinobi lives officially begin. As such, Naruto decided to change his wardrobe. He is now dressed in a black long-sleeve form-fitting shirt to show off his physique, the standard Jonan vest, black onbo-style pants, and a white sleeveless high-collar haori with the kanji for Tensei on his back outlined by a jade-colored lotus. He wears black shinobi sandals and black fingerless gloves with the Konoha headband used for a belt. He can honestly say that the women certainly approve of his new look. Tuya and Satsuki sit on either side of him, as per usual. The two girls are actually conversing like they didn't try to kill each other 4 days ago. Naruto wonders if a rivalry like theirs is actually healthy. Moments later, Iruka walks in and the class goes silent. Alright class, congratulations on making it to Jinan. Now, I won't be subtle. Some of you will die, some of you will suffer, some of you may never see each other again. That is the life all shinobi lead. But never forget, the will of fire burns brightly within all of you. Each battle makes us stronger, each loss brings us closer, and each one of you represents the leaf, and I am proud to no longer call you my students. From this day forward, you all are my comrades. You all are Jinan of Konohagakure no Sato. Welcome to the shinobi force. After a brief applause, Iruka picks up his clipboard. Now, I will announce your team placements as decided by our Hokage. Team 1 will be Naruto Namikaze, Satsuki Uchiha, and Tuya. Your Jounin sensei will be Yugao Uzuki. Team 2 will be Hinata Hyuga, Yakumo Kurama, and Shino Aburame. Your Jounin sensei will be Kurana Yuhi. Team 3 will be Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akamiki. Your Jounin sensei will be Asuma Sarutobe. And Team 4 will be Sasuke Uchiha, Kiba Inuzuka, and Sai. Your Jounin sensei will be Kakashi Hatake. Iruka lowers his clipboard and looks at the newly minted Jinan. It was an honor being your instructor for the past 6 years. I look forward to hearing stories of your accomplishments later on. Good luck, Jinan of Konoha. The class responds. Thank you, Iruka-sensei. The Scar Jounin smiles and gives the class a nod before leaving the room. The Jinan talk amongst themselves for now. I'm really happy I'm teamed with you and Yuya-chan, Naru-kun. Satsuki says with a smile. Me too. I'm happy I got paired up with you two instead of your dickhead brother, Pink Eye. Tuya says. Beneath the desk, Naruto takes Satsuki's hand and places his other hand on Tuya's thigh. He smiles at both girls. Satsuki smiles back while Tuya gives him a foxy grin. Satsuki then speaks up. I don't know. Sasuke has been acting weird lately. Naruto raises an eyebrow. Weird how, Suki-chan? Tuya is curious as well. Satsuki frowns. He's been asking me and my mom for help. He's also been actually talking to us. And smiling. This causes their eyes to widen. Satsuki whispered that last part sharply to emphasize it. The surprise is evident on their faces. They turn to look back at Sasuke, who's sitting next to Kiba, talking and laughing. Kami. Naruto whispers. He looks normal. The two girls nod in agreement. Satsuki continues. And get this. He says Kiba is his friend. Naruto and Tuya gasp. No way. Naruto says. Bullshit. Tuya adds. Satsuki nods. He went over to his house the day before yesterday and had dinner with him. Naruto's eyes grow to the size of saucers. He gathers himself. But what caused this change in him? He asks. Satsuki answers. He said it's because Kiba and himself have a lot in common. They talked and became friends. That's all he said. Naruto and Tuya shrug and continue talking with Satsuki. Naruto goes on to tell them how Anko ambushed him the day after the exams. Tuya laughs. How did she sneak up on you, huh? Aren't you a censor? Naruto throws up his hands. I don't know. That's what confused me. The two girls laugh. So what happened after that, huh? He sighs. She was pissed I didn't win the exams and that she lost money. She wanted compensation. Tuya raises an eyebrow. What kind of compensation? Naruto blushes. Satsuki and Tuya sigh. That kind of compensation, huh? Tuya states rather than asks. Satsuki speaks up. Why do you let her do that, Naru-kun? You must enjoy it, don't you? Naruto blushes again and replies, I won't deny that I find Anko-chan incredibly sexy, but I also feel something with her. It isn't just a good fuck for me, I can get that from almost any girl in the village if I wanted it. Tuya and Satsuki nod. True. Go ahead. Naruto sighs. She's hurting inside. I don't like that. Whether she opens up to me or not is her choice. But when we're together, she lets go of it, if only for a little while. So I'm happy just to be her release. Tuya and Satsuki frown slightly. You don't feel like she's using you? Satsuki asks. Naruto shakes his head. She isn't that kind of person. Anko-chan is straightforward and direct, a lot like Tayu-chan. Sure, she may be using me without even realizing it, but it isn't malicious. She just knows what she wants and I respect that. This causes Tuya and Satsuki to smile. Naruto has always been like this. Whenever someone comes to him in pain, he helps them. Even when they don't ask for it. The girls lean in and kiss him on their respective cheek, causing Naruto to blush. He looks at them dumbfounded. They both giggle. It's just a reward, Naru-kun. Satsuki says. Naruto simply blinks. For what? He asks stupidly. Tuya squeezes his hand. For being you, Naruto-kun. Naruto looks at Tuya, not bothering to hide his surprise. She rarely calls him his name. She only does so when she shows her softer side. Naruto sees the gentle smile on her face, the way her hair is leaning to one side, her bangs revealing the full shape of her face. Naruto can only describe it in one word. A word he accidentally mutters aloud. Beautiful. Tuya blushes. She fights the urge to punch him and run away. She wants to confront the feelings she has for him. Why you? Really think so? She manages to say. Naruto, realizing he said that aloud, recovers. He nods. I do. I always have. You and Satsuki are the two most beautiful girls I know. I love everything about the both of you. The girls both blush brightly. Their hearts flutter and they resist the urge to hide their heads in embarrassment. Instead they both lean their heads on his shoulders. We both love you too, Naru-kun. Satsuki replies. Damn straight, we do. Tuya adds. Naruto smiles in content and wraps his arms around the girls, pulling the two loves of his life close to him. He sighs and closes his eyes for a moment, basking in the feeling of peace in his heart. The Jounin gathered again in the Hokage's office to observe the interactions between the fresh Shinon on the Hokage's crystal ball. As they observed Naruto's conversation with the girls, they turned their attention to Anko. She had been blushing earlier from Naruto's fond words. Her heart had began beating rapidly and her breath hitched, something her friends Yugao, Kurenai, and Hana had noticed. Hana takes the moment to mess with her. So, you got a thing for the Namikaze kid, huh? Not a bad choice. She teases. Anko blushes even harder. Yugao chimes in. I had no idea you were so smitten with my student, and Chan. When did this happen? The attention was all on her. The exit was blocked so she couldn't make a run for it. She gives up and answers, last year. She says quietly. Kurenai gasps. And Chan, he was only 13. Anko shakes her head. He had turned 14 the week before. I had a lot of stress built up from the constant missions and torture. I caught the guy training in the Forest of Death and decided to tease him. She explains. Hana nods. Okay, go on. She says. Anko shrugs. I mean, what can I say? One thing led to another, that's it. Now, whenever I feel like I need a good fuck, I see him. Guy's got amazing stamina and a big dick. I'm kinda addicted to him, if I gotta be honest. I see him at least once a week. She blushes even more, realizing what she's saying. Kurenai gasps, Hana goes wide-eyed, and Jiraiya giggles perversely, scribbling in his book before Tsunade whacks him over the head. Focusing their attention back on the class, they overhear Naruto's fluffy scene with Satsuki and Tuya. Some smile at the scene fondly, others joke about how lucky the guy is. Suddenly, they turn their heads when they hear the door to the Hokage's office slam loudly. They see that one of the other Jounin was pushed out of the way of the door. They look around and see that it was Anko who ran out of the room. One goes to find her but Mikoto speaks up. Leave it. Give her some space. She needs to clear her head. They all nod and continue observing. Outside the Hokage Tower, an angry Anko storms down the street. The problem is, she doesn't know why she's angry. It's a different kind of anger than she's used to. She's muttering to herself, growling occasionally. Everyone stays out of her way, though. It's an unspoken rule in Konoha to not fuck with a pissed-off Anko. The raging Jounin head to the Forest of Death to be alone. As she heads inside, she finds a good branch to sit on and lean her back against the trunk. She sighs. Why the hell am I so angry at them? She asks no one. The image of the two girls laying their heads on his shoulders flashes through her mind. She bites the lip she was already chewing on harder, splitting it open and drawing blood. She growls at the memory. Ugh. Why is it bothering me so fucking much? She shouts. Her chest tightens even more as the kisses and touches flash through her mind. Tears sting the corners of her eyes. She then remembers her times with Naruto. They were never quick, rough, or uncaring. No, Naruto was always tender and loving. He kissed her when she didn't want to, he explored her body. There was passion in his eyes when he looked at her. That must be what bothers her. He cared for her. Genuinely. Those mystifying eyes of his didn't look down on her. No, they were warm and they could see right through her. She didn't like talking about her life when he asked. She always avoided the topic. She was afraid to lose what they had. Anka openly sobs into her hands at her dilemma. What did they have? She wanted to say it was just sex, just a way to relieve their stress. But she knew it wasn't. She enjoyed everything about it. Not just the sex itself, but also the time they have together. Waking up with his arms wrapped around her, the feeling of their skin touching, the taste of his skin, the smile. It's why she sleeps in with him when they make love. She savors every moment, wanting it to last even longer. And when he leaves, it hurts her. Like he's walking out of her life, abandoning her. The same way he abandoned her. So she waits another week for it to happen all over again. This isn't the cycle she wants. So what if she's 4 years older? So what if he's the son of the Yondaime? There was something between them, damn it. He obviously cares for her, he made that pretty clear, and she's fucking in love with him. Anko's eyes widen at the realization. She was in love with the white-headed Gaki. No. No way. No fucking way. Anko Mitarashi. And the son of the Yellow Flash. What would people say if they found out he was having an affair with the snake whore? It would ruin his reputation. And they'd say she had been brainwashing him. She needs to put a stop to it. It's be the best for the both of them. The image of the other two girls flashes through her memory again. That's right. He'd be happier with them. Those words cut her deeply. Her sobs become pained and uncontrollable. She curls herself into the fetal position. She has to end it. For the both of them. No matter how much it will hurt. Naruto opens his eyes as the door to the classroom opens. 4 Jounin walk in, Kakashi, Kurenai, Asuma, and some purple-haired woman he doesn't recognize. She had an athletic build, delicate features, long beautiful purple hair more vibrant than Anko's, and wore the standard Jounin attire. She carried a sword on her back and also wore purple lipstick that matches her hair. She's a very beautiful woman. Team 1, meet me at training ground 12. She says. Naruto, Satsuki, and Tuya Sunshine there. Team 1 all appear together in the training ground. Good. Expert Sunshines. Now, let's start off with introductions. You first, redhead. Tuya scoffs at the nickname. Tuya. I like Naruto-kun, pink eye, and a good fight. I dislike perverts, rapists, and sexist pigs. My hobbies are spending time with Naruto-kun and pink eye here in training. My dream is to have a family with Naruto-kun. Yugao nods. Decent intro. She thinks. You next, Uchiha. Satsuki speaks up. Satsuki Uchiha. I like Naru-kun, Yuya-chan, my mom and my brother. I dislike perverts, rapists, and traitors. My hobbies are spending time with Naru-kun and Yuya-chan along with training. My dream is to have a family with Naru-kun. Yugao nods. Fangirls? No, way too strong to be fangirls. She says, you next, whitehead. Naruto speaks. Naruto namikaze. I like a lot of things, like the girls in my life and my family. I have a few dislikes. Never really had a hobby since I don't need to train much and I wouldn't call spending time with the people I love a hobby. I don't really have a dream. The girls deadpan at him. Yugao is dumbfounded. That's an intro. She clears her throat. Yugao Uzuki. I like my friends and swords. I dislike perverts, rapists, and chauvinists. My hobby is honing my kenjutsu skills. My dream is to become a famous swordswoman and be recognized throughout the elemental nations. Her team nods in approval. She voices her opinion on something. I expected you to dream of being Hokage, Namikaze-san. Naruto shrugs. Too boring. Let someone else do it. Also, my name is Naruto. Don't be so formal, I hate that shit. Yugao chuckles. Whatever you say, Naruto. Now, I will focus the first week on sparring and training, figuring out where I need to help you all improve on. I'm especially curious to see your skills in kenjutsu, girls. What do you say we get started? It's been 3 days since Naruto was assigned his team. The training and sparring had been going well but he doesn't really push himself. He doesn't use a lot of ninjutsu in spars and he refuses to fight Satsuki and Tuya. He made that point clear to his sensei. Naruto and Yugao hadn't really gotten along well at first. The reason why is because he refused to spar with her. She took it as an insult, thinking Naruto didn't want to hit a woman or didn't want to fight her because he thought she was weak since she's a woman. The argument heated up to the point where Yugao attacked Naruto with her sword. She had been screaming profanities about Naruto being a sexist pig, a bastard, and threatening to castrate him. It wasn't until Naruto got fed up and sent her flying through the forest that she realized why he refused to fight her. She woke up being enveloped by a warm energy. Looking up, she sees Naruto healing her with a blanket of bright energy. He explained that he hit her with a small blast of repulsion. The impact of being blasted through several acres of forest broke her back, several ribs, her arms and legs, ruptured several organs, and almost killed her. He finished healing her up and explained why he didn't want to spar. Simply put, he's far too strong. She couldn't hurt him unless he held back the majority of his power, and it would be unfair to her and an insult to her skills. He refused to fight Tuya and Satsuki because he'd rather die than be responsible for hurting them. Yugao accepted and apologized profusely for being so obnoxious earlier. The two amended their companionship and became cordial with one another. Today, he decided not to meet with his team for training and sparring since he needed to see someone. He was currently heading to Anko's apartment. He hadn't seen her around and was worried about her. She usually liked to tease him a bit each morning, but she's been absent for the past 3 days. Arriving outside her door, he knocks. After a few minutes, he hears shuffling and shifting from inside. The door opens, revealing a disheveled, exhausted, and depressed-looking Anko. He frowns, having never seen her like this before. It only serves to worry him more. She widens her eyes. "Oh. What are you doing here, Naruto?" Her tone doesn't help the feeling of concern taking root inside him. She looks awful, nothing like the brilliant, beautiful, cheerful Anko that he knows. This Anko looks like she let her true pain surface. He hates this. "Anko-chan, what's wrong? Why did you lock yourself up in here without letting people know?" he asks, voicing his concern. Anko turns her head away and goes to walk back inside, closing the door behind her. "None of your business, now leave me alone." No. Naruto wasn't having this. He catches the door and moves inside. Judging from her smell, she hadn't washed since locking herself inside. "Anko-chan, talk to me. What the hell is going on? This isn't you," Naruto demands. "I said it's none of your business, Naruto. Get the hell out." She shouts back. "None of my business? Look at you, Anko. You're falling apart. Tell me what's going on." "Fine, fuck it. You. That's what's going in, you." "Me? What the hell are you talking about? What did I do?" I just. Shit." Anko can't find the right words she wants to say. Naruto waits for a response. "Anko, please. I'm worried about you." He goes to grab her hand, only for her to pull away. "No. Naruto, let's stop this." The words cut deep into Naruto's heart. "Stop? Stop what?" Anko sniffles slightly. She didn't want this time to come. Both of them are hurt by the words she said. She turns away so he won't see the tears fall from her eyes. "We need to stop seeing each other. It isn't good for us." Her voice breaks. Each word hurts, each breath aches. Her nails dig into her own palms. The tears fall uncontrollably. Naruto isn't doing much better. The tears escaped his eyes as well. He can't believe what she's saying. After all this time, every night they spent together, every kiss, every touch, every release, every smile they shared, every morning they woke in each other's arms. Was that all nothing? Did she really want to throw it all away? Simply discard the times they shared as though they were meaningless? "No." He says breathlessly. "No?" She repeats. "No, this isn't what either of us wants, Anko. And you know it." Naruto shouts. He isn't backing down from this. She turns to face him. Eyes full of tears, she prepares to hold her ground. "Yes it is. You don't need me. You can just be happy with the other two girls. It's what's best for us both." Naruto growls, his emotions coming forth. "How the hell can you tell me what's best for me, Anko? I won't let you do this to yourself. Are you gonna tell me that everything between us wasn't special? Do you really expect me to believe you don't care about those times we spent together? It was just sex. That's all. That's all it was. That's all you are, a good fuck." Anko's words hurt her as much as she wanted to hurt Naruto. She begins sobbing, knowing full well that she's hurting the man she loves. She collapses to the ground, face in her hands as the tears fall. Naruto recoils from her words. He can tell they aren't real and that something else is hurting her. He crouches down and wraps his arms around her. "Anko-chan," he says softly. "Just breath. Calm yourself and tell me what's going on." Anko clutches onto his haori. She whimpers and sniffles as he holds her close. She begins. "I saw the conversation you had with those girls yesterday through the crystal ball." She sniffs and wipes her nose with a tissue. "And then? You told the girls how much you loved them. It hurt me watching that. I left and went to the forest. And started thinking about us." She whimpers as she tries to gather the strength to continue. You deserve better than me, Naruto-kun. You know what they call me, you know my past even if I never told you. I'm Orochimaru's discarded experiment. I'm the snake whore. She sobs lightly. What if people see you with me? What if they saw the son of their hero with trash like me? What if? I wouldn't give a shit, Anko. They don't matter to me. You do. The girls don't mind you. And your past doesn't matter to me. I love you, Anko-chan. I love you for you. She whimpers even more, clutching onto his Haori harder. No. No, I don't deserve you. You'll just discard me when you're tired like he did. I don't. I would never do that to you. You deserve happiness, too, Anko-chan. Weren't those times we spent together happy for you? She nods into his chest. Naruto kisses her forehead and strokes her hair as she whimpers lightly. I swear, on my parents' graves, I will never hurt you. I'd rather die than hurt you, Anko-chan. Just give me a chance. Give us a chance. A real chance. Naruto's words are so comforting. Every dark thought, every insecurity rooting itself deep in her heart, he purged it all away. She feels herself relax in his arms. Looking up into his eyes, she asks, "You promise?" Naruto smiles. "On my life." She smiles gently. "Okay." Anko leans in and claims his lips with her own. Naruto wraps his arms around the beautiful woman in his arms and pulls her close. She wraps her own arms around his neck. Their tongues dance around one another and the two lovers release all their pent-up feelings for each other in their kiss. They pull back and look into each other's eyes. Anko grins and pecks him on the lips. "Bedroom?" He returns her grin with equal lust. "Bedroom." He lifts her up and carries her in his arms to their love nest. They'll both need a show after they're done. Team 1 stands in front of the Hokage to report for their first mission. It's been a week since their formation and the team has grown comfortably close. Ironically, Team 4 has already left for their mission, an escort mission to Wave Country. Apparently, their teamwork is crisp and efficient. In fact, Kakashi hadn't been focusing on teamwork at all with Team 4. He had actually been helping them refine their jutsus and teaching them more elemental manipulation. Not one to fall behind, Team 1 is raring to go. Team 1 reporting for our first mission, Hokage-sama. Yugao says. She tosses them a mission scroll. C-rank investigation. Disappearances in a small village called Yokogame near the border of Kusa. Likely bandits. Leave whenever you're ready. Dismissed. Naruto, you stay behind. As Team 1 files out, Naruto stands before Mikoto. He can tell she's worrying over something. "What's wrong, Miko-baken?" he asks. She lets out a sigh. "There's been reports of disappearances all around that area, Naruto-kun. Not just in Fire Country, but also in Kusa and Iwa." Naruto raises an eyebrow. "Then why send a Genin team, Oba-chan? Shouldn't you send Anbu?" Mikoto shakes her head. "Without solid evidence connecting them together, I can only classify it as a C-rank mission. That's why I saved it for your team specifically in case things go wrong. I can count on you to keep them safe." Naruto nods. "Don't worry, Oba-chan. I'll never let anything happen to them." Mikoto stands and walks around her desk, pulling Naruto into a loving hug. "Be safe, Naruto-kun." He rubs her back tenderly. "I will, Oba-chan." Back. Kakashi grabs Kazuna and leaps backwards as does Kiba and Sasuke. Sai unfortunately was too close. The water under the bridge erupts upwards, forming a dragon. Most of Team 4 managed to get to safety but Sai was a little too close and a little too slow. He leaps backwards but doesn't get away in time. The water dragon turns and hits him directly, knocking him unconscious. "Sai!" Kiba shouts. Sasuke turns and looks directly into the dense fog. Suddenly, an ominous laughter pierces through the mist. Well. What do we have here?" A thick killing intent washes over Team 4. While they were no strangers to killing intent, the strength of this one was on par with a cage. As the massive sword, muscular figure, spiky hair, and bandages come into view, Kakashi's eye widens. "Been a while, eh Kakashi?" the figure says. A sweat drop rolls down Kakashi's face. Memories of the Third Great Shinobi War fills his head. The tales of this man's strength are as heralded as his own. And his murderous bloodlust are known throughout the elemental nations. Kakashi swallows a lump in his throat. He manages to speak. "Zabuza the Butcher, Demon of the Bloody Mist and S-Rank Nukenin." Chapter 5, The Decisions That Make Us. "Good morning, my cute little Genin." Kakashi greets in a jovial tone. "Morning, sensei." Sasuke greets. "Yo, sensei." Kiba follows. Sai just nods in acknowledgement. With his signature eye smile, Kakashi asks, "Are you all ready for your first mission?" Sasuke looks at Kiba, who nods with a grin, and then to Sai, Who doesn't do anything? Sasuke doesn't know what to make of that. I think we can handle it, sensei. Sasuke answers, as the de facto leader of his team. Kakashi smiles pleasantly. I'm happy that Kiba pulled him from the darkness inside his heart. He'll make a great shinobi, potentially Hokage in the future. Team 4 heads to the Hokage's office to acquire their first mission. The week they spent training and feeling each other out had been pretty lax, much to the surprise of Kakashi. He found that the team worked well together, Sasuke making the plans and handling mid-long range ninjutsu with Kiba acting as a heavy hitter and Sai being support. Kakashi knew his group was more than ready to handle a C-rank mission. Reporting to the Hokage, Kakashi requested his team's first mission. Mikado asked if he was sure they were ready, to which Kakashi expressed with full confidence they were. Mikado eyed the rest of Team 4 carefully before nodding with a smile. Send in Tesna. Moments later a drunken old man with glasses who smelled like booze, ass, and hopelessness walks in. Mikado furrows her brow at the slovenly old man. He belches for emphasis. Eh? So these are the brats you chose to guard me, huh? He eyes them over. They'll do. Sasuke frowns at the man's demeanor. Turning to his mother, she explains the nature of their mission. You're doing a simple escort mission. Get him to Nami no Kuni safely. You can expect some resistance in the form of bandits. Shouldn't be an issue for your team. Kakashi nods and tells his team to meet by the gate in an hour. Before he leaves, Mikado stops him. Kakashi faces Mikado as she explains. The man was hiding the true nature of this assignment. I'd been monitoring his country for a few months now. Apparently, Wave had been taken over a while ago by a tyrannical businessman named Gato. I'm sure you've heard of him. Kakashi nods. Mikado continues. Team 2 was out on a bandit extermination mission near the area you're being sent to. I've redirected them to rendezvous with you at the bridge. They'll act as support. Call it a safety precaution, but I'd rather not take any chances, especially when this mission involves my son. Kakashi nods in agreement. Understood. I'll proceed with caution, Hokage-sama. Please do, Kakashi. Something about this mission worries me, and it isn't just because it's Sasuke's first. Kakashi acknowledges Mikado one last time before exiting her office. A mother's worry never ceases, but this mission compounded those worries immensely. Mikado does the only thing she can do in her situation and prays that Kami brings her baby boy back to her alive. The road to Wave had been relatively quiet. A few bandit parties here and there, but Team 4 silenced them with ease. Kakashi and Sasuke had definitely noticed Hazuna's weird behavior, though. There was fear evident in his eyes and he kept observing his surroundings nervously, not something a client being guarded by highly trained shinobi usually do. Deciding to make camp for the night, Kakashi decides to send for reinforcements to be on the safe side. This mission didn't sit well with Kakashi, and during his experience, if something could go wrong, usually it will go wrong. Sasuke, being as restless as he is, never wasted a moment of downtime to get some training in. He's growing at a constant pace, mastering his fire element to rival his sister, as well as developing his lightning affinity under Kakashi's tutelage. As he's training, Kiba steps into the clearing. Sasuke notices and turns his attention to him. Kiba, giving feral grin and a wave, Kiba responds with, "Yo, Sasuke. Wanna get a quick spar in?" Sasuke gives a nod with a smile. As the boys test each other, Kakashi watches them with a smile under his mask. Those two truly represent the spirit of Konoha. Genuine care and brotherhood for their teammates. He lowers his head in sadness at the memories of his fallen team. I'm all that's left. Sensei, Rin, Obito. I won't let the same fate befall this team. Later, the two boys take a break under the night sky. Both are covered in dirt and winded, but the smiles never leave their faces. Looking to the stars, Kiba asks Sasuke a question that's been on his mind. Yo, Sasuke. The raven-haired boy looks at his friend. Been meaning to ask you. What are you gonna do when you avenge your clan and kill Itachi? Sasuke's eyes widen at the question. He never honestly thought about that. His goal had always been to kill Itachi and he never thought beyond that. He looks down and thought. I never really thought about it. Maybe start a family and rebuild my clan? But Satsuki looks like she plans on doing that with Naruto. Kiba laughs aloud. Yeah, you can bet on that. Those two will probably have 3 or 4 pups by themselves. Sasuke smirks. He and Naruto may not get along, but he doesn't doubt that he treats his sister well. And honestly, his opinion of Naruto isn't that bad to begin with. It's his power that bothers him. He knows that Naruto has never had to go all out, so the majority of his strength is a mystery. But Sasuke is sure of one thing, even Itachi can't compare to him. And that scares him. Kiba's question resonates with Sasuke and he continues to deliberate his words. I'm not sure, Kiba. I might do something business under the Uchiha banner, maybe take on a Jonin team? Hell, I might become an instructor at the academy. I just don't know. Kiba gives Sasuke one of his signature grins. Well, don't think too hard about it now. No matter what, I'll be right there with you, though. You can count on it. Sasuke stares at Kiba in disbelief. His shock becomes a genuine smile. Humph. I know you will. Kiba. The words come off as more of a mutter or a whisper. Kiba may have heard it but didn't acknowledge it. In the short time he and Kiba have been friends, Sasuke has come to truly treasure Kiba's company. His life had become brighter, his smile had returned, and he had found other reasons to live than simple-minded revenge. He remembered the family he still has, the new friends he made from the academy. He not only wants to avenge his clan but also protect the people he has in his life now. And it's all thanks to Kiba, his friend. His best friend. Sasuke and Kiba continue to enjoy the warm night sky and gazing into the beautiful cosmos. Exhaustion befell the two best friends and they fall asleep under the full moon. After several more days of travel, Team 4 arrive with Tenseigan at the bridge. The trip there had been more of what they experienced once leaving Konoha, except more frequently. Kakashi really didn't like it. There shouldn't be that many bandits gathered in one place, lest they draw attention from the shinobi villages. As they near the bridge, Kakashi feels chakra build up and knows that his team is in for a fight. Back. Kakashi grabs Tenseigan and leaps backwards as does Kiba and Sasuke. Sai unfortunately was too close. The water under the bridge erupts upwards, forming a dragon. Most of Team 4 managed to get to safety but Sai was a little too close and a little too slow. He leaps backwards but doesn't get away in time. The water dragon turns and hits him directly, knocking him unconscious. Sai. Kiba shouts. Sasuke turns and looks directly into the dense fog. Suddenly, an ominous laughter pierces through the mist. Well. What do we have here? A thick killing intent washes over Team 4. While they were no strangers to killing intent, the strength of this one was on par with a cage. As the massive sword, muscular figure, spiky hair, and bandages come into view, Kakashi's eye widens. Been a while, eh Kakashi? The figure says. A sweat drop rolls down Kakashi's face. Memories of the Third Great Shinobi War fills his head. The tales of this man's strength are as heralded as his own. And his murderous bloodlust are known throughout the elemental nations. Kakashi swallows a lump in his throat. He manages to speak. Zabuza the Butcher, Demon of the Bloody Mist and S-rank Nukenin. Sasuke and Kiba's eyes widen at the recognition of the name. Kakashi-sensei. Isn't this man? Yes, Sasuke. He's the man responsible for the Night of the Bleeding Leaf. The two Jonin are plagued by shivers as they see the man's bandaged face contort in a sadistic smile under the wraps. The night Kakashi speaks of is one of the most infamous in the Leaf's long history, as well as one of the most celebrated in Kiri's history. During a campaign in the midst of the Third Great Shinobi War, Konoha had begun to advance into Kiri and had assigned several companies to systematically launch raids on key points along their borders to stem the threat of Kiri advancing on Konoha along with Iwa. One of the platoons stationed in Kiri, Konoha's 17th Assault Division, barrier and ninjutsu specialists with training in guerrilla tactics and subterfuge, had been camped outside of Ozushio. They were a company of around 70 Konoha shinobi, all Chunin and Jounin, and had driven much of the Kiri forces back. That is, until Kiri commissioned Zabuza Momochi to fix the problem. Zabuza had been considered a bit of an upstart in Kiri at the time, having just joined the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. He had been selected after showing promise when slaughtering a graduating class of Kiri Jonin and some Chunin when not even being an academy student. That alone warranted notoriety and had earned him the title of Demon of the Bloody Mist. On this night, however, Zabuza was damned near behind enemy lines. It had been a night of a full moon and mist rolled through the camp. Zabuza employed his silent killing technique and spared no one. Even the ones who were trying to retreat. He slaughtered anything that moved and he did it alone. From that night on, the legend of Zabuza the Butcher had been born, the Demon of the Bloody Mist. And that massacre had become known as the Night of the Bleeding Leaf. Kiba and Sasuke shiver. This man was a legend of the Third Great Shinobi War. He was an S-rank threat, the same as their sensei, but they doubt Kakashi was stronger than Zabuza. The mere presence of his chakra seemed more oppressive than their Jounin senseis. Looking toward Kakashi, they could see that he was nervous, hesitant, afraid even. To emphasize his point, Zabuza releases his killing intent. It blanketed the area like a cloud of death, making Tenseigan pass out immediately, foaming at the mouth, and causing Kiba to collapse to his knees, his face devoid of any color. Sasuke fared much better, but the killing intent brought on flashbacks of the night of the Uchiha massacre. He clenches his fists and grits his teeth at the memories, tears stinging his eyes. Huh? A new Uchiha. My, how fun. Zabuza mocks. And the Sharingan, too. So I get to fight 2 Sharingan wielders in one day. Kami must be smiling on my fortune. Sasuke looks confused. But Kakashi clarifies for him. Congratulations, Sasuke. He says. It seems that Zabuza's killing intent set off the emotional trigger to unlock your dojutsu. Sasuke's eyes widen. He was right, Sasuke was able to see everything much clearer and retain it, also seeing Zabuza's chakra. It was monstrous. But we don't have time to celebrate. It seems we will have to work together to survive this, Kakashi says, uncovering his own Sharingan. Sasuke swallows a lump in his throat and nods, readying himself for combat. Zabuza smirks beneath his bandages and takes off in a burst of speed. Sasuke, even with his Sharingan activated, can hardly see his movements. Zabuza is on him before he can react. He punches Sasuke hard in his gut, his face contorts in pain and he's launched backwards. Sasuke! Kiba shouts. Kakashi retaliates, launching at Zabuza with a blade of his own. Zabuza attacks back and the two lock blades. Zabuza recognizes Kakashi's blade. Well, isn't this a surprise? The white light chakra saber? I'd heard it was destroyed. Kakashi smirks. Obviously it wasn't, as I'm going to use it to claim your head, Zabuza. Kakashi attempts to overpower Zabuza but the demon finds it amusing. He kicks Kakashi in the gut and delivers an overhead slash that Kakashi blocks, causing his knees to buckle slightly under the weight of the attack. Kakashi was actually bluffing when he said the white light chakra saber wasn't destroyed. It actually was during the Third War but Kakashi had the blade repaired although he never used it. He decided to bring it along during this mission, keeping it sealed in a storage seal on his arm, though he now questions his decision. He fears the blade may not be able to stand up to one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. Fuck. He's so damned strong. That attack nearly broke my blade again. Zabuza smirks. Those Sharingan that you and that brat are so proud of aren't any use when your bodies can't keep up, am I right? Kakashi curses under his mask. Zabuza applies more strength, causing Kakashi's legs to buckle even more. Suddenly, Zabuza is blindsided by a dark blur and sent skating away. Kakashi drops to his knees to regain his strength. He looks up to see who saved him. The person looks back with a smirk. Guess we arrived just in time. Kakashi smirks back underneath his mask. Was wondering when you would show up. As Team 1 was making their way to Yokogame, Satsuki asks Yugao about their mission. Sensei, is there any other information we can go on? Yugao answers, the disappearances began around 5 months ago. The villagers paid no mind to it at first but it became an ongoing occurrence. It is reasonable to believe that some of the disappearances can be attributed to fleeing in fear but we've also received some rather unsettling details. Tuya chimes in, what kind of details, Sensei? Yugao frowns slightly as she recalls the reports. Most of the disappearances occurred at night. It always included reports of the victims going to sleep normally and then disappearing by morning. No signs of a struggle, no forced entry. It was as if they went for a midnight stroll and never returned. Naruto narrows his eyes at the information. Sounds like the work of shinobi. Some sort of genjutsu, most likely. Bandits wouldn't kidnap people from one specific area over an extended period of time. They'd relocate within a month to keep shinobi off their trail. All the evidence points to shinobi handiwork. Yugao nods. She sighs before continuing. And what's more disturbing is that I've seen this before. Team 1 looks at their sensei in surprise. Satsuki speaks up, what do you mean sensei? She furrows her brow. You two are probably too young to remember this. 2 years following the Kyuubi attack, reports of unexplained disappearances began occurring within the village. This drew the Sundaime's concern because some ignorant villagers began blaming Naruto, claiming it was the Kyuubi influencing him. Sundaime-sama acted quickly and it was discovered that it was the work of one of our very own shinobi, one who would become our greatest traitor since Madara Uchiha. Satsuki's eyes widen. Orochimaru, Team 1 collectively steal their gazes at the possibility that they may be facing an S-rank nuke. Tuya breaks the short-lived silence. What do we do if we run into him here, sensei? The snake freak is a cage-level shinobi. Yugao nods. That's why this mission was given to us specifically. Hokage-sama knew that facing Orochimaru was a possibility but without solid proof, she couldn't rank the mission as S-class. So she sent the one shinobi she could rely on to kill him in case of an emergency. Yugao pauses as Tuya and Satsuki realize her point. She finishes her statement, the god of Konoha, arriving in Yokogame, Team 1 sets about gathering reports and investigating any potential leads they can find. From what the villagers say, the missing persons are no longer within the villages at all, so they rule out potential slavers or underground crime rings. Team 1 takes to the surrounding forest, staying together in case Orochimaru actually is the one causing the disappearances. After a few hours of investigation, they are finding some clues indicating that the missing persons use the path they are on. Unfortunately, they know they are being followed. Team 1 simply bides their time, waiting for their followers to appear. "So if it is who we think it is, what do we do, sensei?" Satsuki asks, attempting to sound oblivious to their tales. Yugao plays along, answering, "We don't separate. He may have company but don't split up. The bastard is crafty and he's a veteran. We can't avoid being cautious." Although her real plan is to take on any company he has with her team and leave the snake bastard to Naruto. She doesn't need to worry about it if Naruto handles the snake Sannin. Suddenly, their tails make their presence known. As Team 1 makes their way deeper in the forest, the group appears before them. Team 1 narrows their eyes when recognizing their affiliation. "Iwa, what brings you so close to our borders, Konoha scum?" The female spits out venomously. Her contempt for Konoha is evident in her voice. "There's no need for that, Kurotsuchi. We're not here for a fight." The older male of the group states. "Yeah, Kuro. What are you trying to do, start another war?" Another male says. "Shut it, Akatsuchi." She turns back to the Iwa group and recognizes one of them. "You." She jumps in to attack Naruto, kunai raised. "Namikaze scum." The older man stops her in her path. "Calm yourself, Kurotsuchi. We aren't here for a fight," the girl growls. "But, father. He's the son of that man. We need to kill him." Kyuchi pacifies the girl with a slap to her face, shocking the others present. Kurotsuchi is stunned by the actions of her father. He never slaps her. Tears sting her eyes as she looks back up to her father, a scowl on his face. "I'm disappointed in you, child." Kurotsuchi flinches at his tone. He is his son. He is not Minato Namikaze. You and your grandfather should be ashamed of your blind hatred. What happened was war, Kurotsuchi. We should be celebrating this fragile peace instead of working to shatter it. Kurotsuchi is in tears by this point. Her hands shake and she stifles her whimpers at her father's scolding. She knows he's right but she can't help but hate that man and whatever legacy he left behind. He killed her mother, a kind and loving woman who wasn't even a frontline fighter, she was a medic. And he killed her in cold blood. Kurotsuchi can't stand being there anymore. She takes off in the direction of Yokogame. "Kurotsuchi!" Kyuchi yells after his daughter. She doesn't turn back and Akatsuchi and the other remaining teammate, Mitsutsuchi, go to stop her. "Leave her," Kyuchi says. "She needs time to herself." The two other men nod. Turning to the Konoha team, who understand that the girl is in pain, Kyuchi says, "I apologize for making you all witness that. My name is Kyuchi. I'm the leader of this team. We aren't attempting to confront you all, we simply would like to know that you all aren't hostile." Tuya growls at the man. "How could you expect us to not be hostile when your village has been trying to kill Naruto-kun his entire life?" Yugao holds her hand in front of Tuya to calm her. Naruto places his hand on her shoulder and squeezes it gently. He shakes his head. Naruto doesn't sense hatred from the three in front of him. He says, "They aren't like the others. We can talk to them." Yugao speaks up. "I'd like to know first why your group is inside Fire Country borders. This could be considered an act of war. But instead of jumping to conclusions, I'd like to hear your reasons first." Kyuchi nods. "I understand your apprehension towards us, but we were sent to investigate a series of disappearances. 2 villages inside Earth Country had been completely cleared out, not a soul in sight." Yugao widens her eyes at this. "And why didn't your Tsuchikage act?" she asks. Kyuchi looks away in shame. He said it probably wasn't something to be concerned with. Team 1 is appalled at the Tsuchikage's negligence. Not to be concerned with? How could a Kage be so damned irresponsible? He's an embarrassment to the position of Kage. Naruto exclaims. Kyuchi flinches. "I am actually inclined to agree. I act as an advisor to Tsuchikage-sama and was persistent in getting him to investigate the reports. He maintained his stance on the matter until I practically demanded to send me and a team to investigate." He pauses for a moment before continuing. "We found that the disappearances led to beyond Kusa borders. Several towns experienced similar reports of missing persons, with the last reported string of disappearances being here." Yugao nods in understanding. "I see. It seems we're working towards resolving the same issue. I believe we can come to an agreement and work together in solving this case?" Kyuchi nods. "I was hoping so, actually. I don't want to have to move around inside Hinokuni borders at the risk of inciting war. From the way it sounds, you have an idea of who it could be?" Yugao nods, answering, "Orochimaru." The Iwa group's eyes widen in horror. He was responsible for similar cases before he betrayed Konoha. I have no idea why he is doing so now. Kyuchi's expression turns grave. I see. If we encountered him on our own, he would have killed us all, and likely worse to Kurotsuchi. I think it'd be in our best interests to work together on this mission. Do you agree? Yugao nods. But she says, I do, but I think it should be up to Naruto. He may not feel comfortable working with Iwa. She turns to Naruto, expectantly. Naruto responds, I don't mind. I can tell your group doesn't hate me, aside from the girl. But I can understand her pain. As long as you all don't attack me, we can work together. Kyuchi nods in agreement. He extends his hand to Yugao, which she accepts. The two teams make their way to Yokogame, having investigated well into the night. The two team leaders agree to resume their search in the morning. Zabuza is pissed off at the moment. He curses his luck. Damn bitch. She just had to arrive with those brats. I could have killed Kakashi and his team, no problem. But now I'm fighting 8-1. Won't hear the end of this when I get back. As Zabuza had Kakashi on the ropes, it was none other than Kurenai who saved Kakashi. With her arrival and the arrival of her team, Hinata went to work healing Sai. With their team medic back in action, Sai helped heal Kakashi while Hinata healed Sasuke and Kurenai. Yakumo and Kiba kept Zabuza busy. Zabuza winces in pain at the injury to his right side. He had been trapped in a powerful genjutsu by one of Kurenai's students, the illusion doing real damage. He managed to break her hold over him and the brat was winded afterwards. The technique must cost a lot of chakra. Scary as hell, either way. So he battled 8 capable shinobi while injured. Sure, he was getting his ass kicked but he was making them work for it. It doesn't help that every time he lands an attack, the pale boy and blind girl heal them. He tried his hiding and missed but the Inuzuka brat knows great breakthrough. He didn't bother using water clones because the damned brats were stronger than his clones. Shitty day at the office. Zabuza blocks another swipe of Kakashi's saber and kicks him away but doesn't have a moment to waste. He leaps backwards and dodges the Juken strikes from the Hyuga brat. Shit. This ain't fair. A Hyuga trained in Ryojutsu? Fuck you, Konoha. He manages to escape but the Hyuga gets his left arm. Katen. Grand Fireball. Zabuza's eyes widen but manages to get his sword up to block the attack. He stops most of the damage but his Kubi Karabocho gets blown away. Suddenly, he feels the chakra drain away from him and he can't move. Ninpa. Bug binding restrained. Zabuza realizes he's trapped. In front of him, he sees Kakashi go through a series of hand seals. This is the end for you, demon of the bloody mist. Kakashi grabs his right wrist and holds it to the ground. A chirping sound fills the air as he channels lightning chakra to his right hand. Chidori. Zabuza closes his eyes and accepts his fate. He whispers under his bandages, I hope you lead a better life than this after I'm gone. Haku. Kakashi rushes forward, his signature creation fully charged. He aims his hand forward, ready to pierce Zabuza's heart. Zabuza waits for the jutsu to end his life. But the attack never comes. The chirping ceases but Zabuza is still alive. He hears Kakashi's voice. You. Zabuza is confused, he looks to see what happened but his eyes widen. He says, Kisame. The massive shark-like man smirks at the demon of the bloody mist. Yo, Zabu-chan. I'm disappointed. You couldn't handle a bunch of brats and 2 puny Konoha shinobi? You should be ashamed. Zabuza growls. Kisame saved him by blocking Kakashi's Chidori with his Seimata. The voracious sword devoured the chakra from the jutsu greedily. Kisame knees Kakashi in the gut, knocking the wind out of him, and strikes him with Seimata, shredding his skin and clothes. Kakashi. Kurenai shouts, rushing over to his side. Relax, woman. I just gave your little boyfriend a parting gift. Kisame mocks. Kurenai shoots him a vicious glare, to which he chuckles in response. Ooh, you got spunk. I'll enjoy shredding that pretty face of yours next time. He laughs starkly. Grabbing Zabuza, he lifts him over his shoulder. Come on, Pipsqueak. Don't need you dying on us yet. We still got use for you and your little friend. The Junon team moves to go after them. Don't. Kurenai shouts. The Junon stop to look at her questioningly. You all are no match for him. He's on a different level than Zabuza entirely. We need to focus on getting Kakashi and Kazuna to safety. The Junon nod and comply with the beautiful Jounin. Kazuna leads the Konoha shinobi to his home. Kakashi eventually fainted from chakra exhaustion due to overusing his implanted Sharingan and was being carried by Sasuke. Along the way, Kiba asked Kurenai who the other man was. Kurenai explains, that was Kisame Hoshigaki. He's another member of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. Even though they're part of the same group, Kisame is far stronger. He is famed as being called a tailless-tailed beast for his massive chakra levels that far exceed most Kage. If he's here, I'm not sure if we can win. Arriving at Kazuna's house, they bring Kakashi to an empty room to let him rest. Sai and Hinata help heal him in turns due to having low chakra levels from earlier. Immediately, Kurenai sends another request for backup to the Hokage. As she and her team rests in preparation for their next encounter with Kisame and Zabuza, she can't help but think of her own shortcomings as a jounin. Sai and Hinata come down from healing Kakashi, saying they can't do any more because they are on the verge of passing out. Kurenai lets them know they did well and goes up to help Kakashi herself, having some knowledge in air Yojutsu herself. As she helps clean Kakashi's wounds and change his bandages, he wakes up. Looking around, he sees Kurenai helping to heal him. The kids must be drained from earlier. He figures. He looks back at Kurenai and notices the expression on her face. Deciding to talk to her, he speaks up, "Kurenai." She's surprised to hear his voice. She turns to him. "What's wrong?" he asks. She blinks twice, surprised that he's asking her what's wrong when he's beaten up and bloodied. "What do you mean?" she asks. Kakashi frowns slightly. "Something is bothering you. Is it about the fight?" Kurenai frowns and looks away. "Kind of," she answers. Kakashi gives a weak smile under his mask. "Kurenai, those two are S-class war veterans with hundreds of battles and countless kills on their hands. You handled yourself well, considering your lack of experience." She furrows her brow slightly. "Kakashi, my students are stronger than me." Kakashi blinks in surprise. "Yakumo is better than me in Genjutsu, Hinata can destroy me if I engage her in Taijutsu, and Shino is a better tactician than I am. She tears up in admitting her own insecurities. "I don't deserve to be a jounin. Or even a chunin for that matter. Not until I improve on my own weaknesses. I shouldn't have even taken on a team." Kakashi leaps in and wraps her into a hug. "Stop it. Don't sell yourself short. Didn't Tuya and Yakumo get as good as they are under your tutelage?" Kurenai recovers from her initial shock. She nods into Kakashi's well-muscled chest. "Yeah," she says with a slight blush. Kakashi smirks under his mask. He pulls back and looks into her beautiful red eyes. "Then you're doing your job. It's tradition for the students to surpass the teacher in our line of work, Kurenai. But a teacher only fails as a teacher when he or she stops learning. Okay?" She smiles warmly and nods. She hesitates before asking, "What do you think I should do?" Kakashi assumes a thinking position. "I'd try learning more ninjutsu and taijutsu. Sure, you aren't Itachi Uchiha but your genjutsu surpasses most Uchiha. You don't need improvement there, but it wouldn't hurt to keep it trained. Just focus on the weaknesses you know of." Kurenai nods. But then she gets an idea. Blushing slightly, she asks, "Do you think you can train me when you have the chance, Kakashi?" The request catches him off guard. Sure, he can understand wanting to train under him since he's one of the strongest jounin in the village. But then again, why not get Asuma to do it? He asks, "Couldn't Asuma help you?" Kurenai looks away. "I would rather not let him know that I'm not confident in my own abilities." This confuses Kakashi even more. Why would she not want to get help from her own boyfriend? He's one of the strongest shinobi in the village too. "Why not, Kurenai?" The raven-haired beauty sighs. "Asuma-kun is a good guy. He's kind, sweet, and polite but I can tell he doesn't see me as an equal." Kakashi blinks his surprise. "What do you mean by that?" Kurenai bites her bottom lip nervously. "As a jounin, and as a shinobi of the Hidden Leaf, I don't think he sees me as a comrade and only looks at me as a woman. I want to be seen as both. He's a great guy but when I talk about my work as a shinobi and a jounin sensei, he almost seems dismissive, like he isn't taking listening seriously." Kakashi frowns at this. Why would he act like that? Sure, Kurenai isn't Tsunade-sama, Kushina Uzumaki, or Mikado Uchiha, but she is absolutely a capable kunoichi. What Kurenai is describing is almost sexist. Asuma isn't like that, is he? Kakashi glances at Kurenai and sees the same insecure expression from earlier. Kakashi isn't used to seeing the woman like this. Kurenai always carries herself with confidence and dignity. She's one of the most beautiful women in the elemental nations and is renowned as the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha, being considered the second most talented Genjutsu user in Konoha behind Itachi Uchiha when he was loyal to the village. Kakashi never thought he'd see the day when Kurenai would confide in him about her weaknesses. She's pouring her heart out about her lack of talent in fields beyond Genjutsu and her doubts about her boyfriend. The realization struck him like a lightning bolt, Kakashi himself sees her as a comrade and forgot that she's a woman too. He frowns in guilt about his own shortcomings as a judge of character. Kurenai sees Kakashi's expression change and asks, "What's wrong, Kakashi?" Kakashi chuckles uncomfortably. "I just realized I'm not much different than Asuma." Confused, Kurenai asks, "What do you mean?" He sighs, "I realized I never thought that you would be struggling with insecurities. I always saw you as a strong and confident person, a reliable comrade." He shakes his head. "But I seem to have forgotten that you're a woman, too. I don't mean to say I don't see you as a woman. No, you're a beautiful woman and Asuma is a lucky man." Kurenai smiles and blushes at Kakashi's compliment. "I always saw you as a kunoichi first and a woman second. In reality, I should have seen you as a woman and a kunoichi, and not separate the two." Kurenai's eyes widen. It was surprising. Underneath the mysterious cold exterior, Kakashi was a man of understanding and kindness. She smiles at the consideration he shows. "I'll be happy to train you in my spare time, Kurenai. I just need to have time for my students as well. We could actually do some training once I recover. We'll have the kids do some light training too. Nothing over the top, in case Zabuza and Kisame show up. Sound good?" Kurenai smiles and nods happily. Kakashi returns the smile beneath his mask. Kurenai frowns though. "Why don't you take your mask off sometime, Kakashi? I never see you without it." Kakashi chuckles. "Is Kurenai-chan anxious to see my real face? My. He stops laughing when he sees the glare Kurenai is sending him. He sweats slightly. Sighing, he pulls down his mask to reveal his face to her. Kurenai couldn't fight down the blush on her face. "Happy now?" She nods. He chuckles, saying, "Careful, Kurenai-chan. You're drooling a bit." She closes her mouth and wipes her face. She frowns at seeing she actually was drooling. She couldn't help it. Looking back at Kakashi, she notes the sharpness of his full feature, how his white hair accepts his face, the scar down his left eye, and that everything fits his appearance perfectly. She understands why he wears a mask. He wouldn't be able to keep other women off of him, which causing her to frown slightly. Is that jealousy, she feels? She looks back at Kakashi and sees the small smile gracing his lips. Kurenai smiles back. The man in front of her is an enigma. He's a powerful shinobi, one of the strongest in the village. But he's damaged. He's suffered loss after loss after loss. He's shut people out in his life as much as he can. He feels like he's cursed to be alone all his life and is afraid to let others in. She feels for the man. He's a wonderful person. He shouldn't have to suffer alone. Kurenai-chan. She blushes as she realizes he's been calling her that for the past few moments. "Let me get some rest for now. When I recover, we can give the kids some exercises to do and you and I can begin our own training, okay?" She smiles lightly and nods. Turning to leave out the room, she stops and tells him one last thing. "Thank you, Kakashi-kun." She opens the door and leaves, closing it gently behind her. Kakashi's eyes widened at what she called him. He covers his face and lays back down, staring at the ceiling. His mind floods with the memories of everyone he's lost. His own worries resurface again. Should he let her in? What if something happens to her? Is he really cursed to be alone all his life? Kakashi closes his eyes, letting sleep claim him. His dreams are filled with the raven-haired beauty who's found a way into his life lately. In a dark warehouse in the land of waves, a wounded and weakened Zabuza Momochi lays in a bed recovering. Nearby, Kisame stands watching him. Another figure appears, stepping out of the shadows. "Care to explain your failure, Zabuza Momochi?" he asks. The butcher scoffs and turns his head away. "They caught me off guard, that's all." The figure doesn't react. "I see. No matter, at least we know what we will be facing." The man turns to Kisame. "We have another assignment. We will handle it first and return here. Once you recover, we will kill the bridge builder and the Konoha shinobi that get in our way." The two turn and leave, giving Zabuza a parting message. "Heal quickly, Zabuza Momochi. We expect you to be ready for battle when we return." As they leave, Zabuza scoffs at the two. "Fucking pricks." Another person approaches Zabuza and begins dressing his wounds. "Thank you, Haku. I probably should have had you help me. I was careless." The feminine boy smiles gently at the brutish man. "Just worry about resting, Zabuza-sama. Those two are dangerous, I'd rather avoid having to fight them." Zabuza nods. The two of them together would struggle to fight Kisame Hoshigaki. And the other one. He shudders at the thought of having to fight Itachi Uchiha. That's the end guys. If you enjoyed, then make sure to leave a comment. This is Chaos Shinobi signing off.